Welcome, everybody. It is I, Detective Dream. All right. Well, I want to make sure we get the audio levels right. Everyone can hear. So maybe I'll turn the music down just a little bit. How's that? Good? Music levels are good? You can hear me? No? Quieter? All right. How about now? Good? Good now? Pretty quiet now? Song's coming to an end. Perfect timing. I'll turn it up a little bit, maybe. All right. Well, welcome, everybody. I'm making my return as Detective Dream. For those of you that are new to this community, you may not know, but I have put on this outfit before. I've done this dance before. But it's only at times when it's necessary, where a detective of Minecraft skills needs to look into an issue. Now, something happened recently, and if you don't know about it, then I don't know why you're here. Maybe you're just you love drama. I'm not sure. I guess it's fine. Welcome. You can watch anyway. And there was a lot of Dream SMP drama, and it felt a little bit like 2020. People might say. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and react to some of the streams. I think I want to react primarily to Tubbo's stream since he went through the timeline the most, and then maybe some of Tommy's tweets and talk about them and kind of put it all out there, because there's been a lot of behind the scenes nonsense, I guess, that's been going on for years now at this point. And I genuinely tried my best to handle things privately. I genuinely tried my best to make talk to everybody behind the scenes. I've had phone calls I'll tell you about. I've had interactions with people that I'll tell you about. And I think it's important kind of to get it out there and be able to move on from this chapter, I guess, of not only the Dream SMP, but also just in general, content. Move on to the next chapter of content creation. So I think I'll probably just watch Tubbo's stream, and I don't have any like clips from it. I just have the stream actually pulled up, and I think I will just watch it and talk about not the entire stream. I think like 30 minutes of it. Talk about certain things he says. Talk about obviously my tweet, which I'm sure a lot of you have seen, and also just talk about a lot of things he says, because he talks about he goes through the timeline kind of and talks about drama from before and how we got to where we are, so on and so forth. There will be some private exchanges talked about. I won't be showing certain private messages from people or talking about them for their privacy, but I will be showing some things, and I will be showing some private messages of mine and talking about interactions that we've had. That way, we kind of get more of the, I guess, evidence out there, and also just kind of like centralizing things, because people don't. I feel like it's hard to track everything when there's a ton of different streamers, and you kind of have to you don't know everything that's going on, I guess. Yeah, I want to go ahead and switch here,
so I can get a train of thought.
We'll pull up Tubbo.
2022. Wait, no, 2020 and 2021.
Doing a little recap.
As you know, I was in the Dream SMP, and a lot of us were in the Dream SMP, and then the Dream SMP ended around the same time that pretty serious allegations about Dream came out about grooming, and everyone was like, whoa, what the fuck? And then everyone kind of like split off.
Okay.
Okay.
So I hate having a problem already this soon, but that's not true. That's not what happened. Actually, the allegations about me that, first of all, I've debunked, I made a video on that I'll talk about more later, but they actually came out many months before the DreamSMP finale. The DreamSMP finale, the allegations of mine happened when I face revealed. So they happened like literally it was the day after I face revealed, or a couple days later or something. And that was in, I don't know, July of 2022 at this point, I guess, or 2022. And the DreamSMP finale, actually, which Tubbo was a massive part of, Tommy was a massive part of, and so were a lot of other creators, happened months later, happened 6 months later. And it's interesting because we actually had conversations about the allegations and about, we talked about them. Me and Tubbo talked about them privately. Me and Tommy talked about them privately. I talked in the Discord, the DreamSMP Discord with the creators about them, because obviously that's even before I made my public response later on, and also I made a private tweet addressing them initially. Even before that, obviously, it's not something. It's something to take seriously. Like, no matter who it's about, it's something to take seriously. And it's something that obviously many times throughout the DreamSMP's history, there were allegations, even some that you guys don't know about, that happened behind the scenes that I dealt with myself, that I went to the creators. I did kind of, an investigation myself into it. Obviously, about one of them that ended up with a creator getting removed from the DreamSMP who had just been added. But there actually were other times where there were allegations against creators, even some that I'll, that I'm not going to talk about the allegations, but that, people are involved in this that I didn't talk about. Obviously, that were kept private because there was not enough evidence backing them, or we looked into them and it turned out the person was lying, or the creator had a chance to defend themselves in private surrounding it. Obviously, the same thing kind of happened with me after, the allegations happened. There was a discussion in the Discord. I also opened my messages up to anybody. I had private text conversations with a variety of people from the DreamSMP. And obviously some people, before I made before I made it public, there were many creators that kind of expressed to me privately, like, hey, until you make a public response, we're not going to be able to. I don't want to make content with you, essentially. Which is fine, and that makes sense. And I replied to each of them, and I said, oh, that makes sense, of course. Obviously your audience doesn't know a lot of the things that you know, and that's fair. That's perfectly fine. But I do think it's important to note that him saying that the DreamSMP ended and then there were allegations and everyone split off is not true, because the DreamSMP didn't end yet. There were allegations. Everyone had discussed them, or we had discussed them. Everyone was aware of at least my side of things vaguely, and the public information. And then the DreamSMP finale happened months later. So I think that is important to keep the facts straight while we kind of move forward. I think that's an important thing to note, because it did not happen like that. It was not, hey, there was allegations, then we decided, oh, we don't want to be around this guy. That's not what happened. There was allegations, people stuck around until DreamSMP finale, and even after that, when I have private conversations and friendships with people, interactions with people, even about the USMP and other opportunities that happened way after. We can continue.
Now, I don't 100% know, but I think Dream has since released a video like 3 years later disproving everything. So I think that's important to keep in mind. But also, part of my brain is also
I like that Tubbo mentioned this. I think that the way that he mentioned it feels kind of disingenuous to me. Like, hey, I think Dream might have put a video out. I think, like as if he hasn't, most likely watched that video, or, it's like the fear of wanting to form an opinion on it because that your audience has a different opinion than you, which is, I think, an issue in the community as a whole. It's something that I've dealt with obviously in the past, something that I think a lot of creators deal with in general. But no, just say Dream released a video debunking the allegations. Just say that. It's not hard to say that. Hey guys, I think it's important to note that even though this was a big issue that happened back then, at the time it was up in the air and we made decisions, but Dream released a video debunking them. He knows that's the case. He mentions it multiple times throughout, but I think the way it's said is almost like he doesn't want to hurt people's feelings that, I don't know, are just like not paying attention to evidence. I don't know. I'm not sure why he words it like that, but I think it's frustrating.
Like, okay, but enough money can make anything disappear. But also,
and then he says that as well, which I think is just such an interesting, like, I think that if you're going to make claims like that, like, essentially the implication there is that, I have a tinfoil hat that money can make anything go away. The implication is that he's implying that potentially money made my allegations go away. Not go watch the video and police conversations, lawyers' involvement, evidence of screenshots and logs and extensive research. Obviously, that was published on my channel. I think that if you're gonna say something like that, you have to have a reason. You have to have a reason, and the problem with what a lot of creators in the community have done over the last couple years is that they'll say that and then they don't actually have a reason. They're more just, it is just like, that's a floated thought. Like Tubbo, I appreciate Tubbo. I don't think Tubbo's an idiot. I think that Tubbo is, in this instance, being a little too beholden to his audience almost, because it's a disingenuous thing to float that when you have no reason to believe that, you have no evidence to believe that, and no personal experience to back that up. Like he has no experience of me ever doing anything with money. He has no experience of me offering him money or anyone else money. He has no personal experience or evidence remotely to support it. So it's not Tubbo. It's not true. That's not fair to say, Tubbo. We'll continue though.
That is also,
he says it once more as well.
I'm mainly going to talk about like the tweet and stuff, and obviously the podcast clip that's referencing and everything else. So I feel like that's some good content. So 2021 happened. Okay, everyone everyone did fall out. Everyone stopped talking and stuff, and then so over this last 2024 and 2023. Everyone has just been, their mentality has just kind of been like, yeah, fuck doing anything in private. Let's just make jabs at each other. Let's just start slinging shit. And then. So
I also think that this is something that is an interesting statement from him, because first of all, for one, we did not separate at the end of the Dream SMP, and I already mentioned that. But two, he says everyone decided in 2024 that we're just going to be slinging like shit at each other. But who? Tommy and Jack and their friends? That's it. What if I go find a tweet from me, a negative thing I've said? I don't know if I've said Jack's name in the history of my YouTube channel or Twitch or any platform of mine since the Dream SMP was happening. I don't know that I have even said his name or acknowledged their existence in any way. And for Tommy, I've said nothing but positive things. I've said positive things about, oh, hey, whatever. I even tweet saying, I still have a lot of respect for everybody on the Dream SMP, so on and so forth. I've done nothing but be positive, and it's very. I don't think that Tubbo is trying to be dishonest. I think he's just trying to. Obviously, it's his friends, and he cares about them, and he wants to paint them in the best light he can. But no, it's them bullying me. It's them attacking me constantly without me responding to them. That's what it is. It's not. Everyone agreed to throw shots. I didn't throw any shots. I didn't throw a single shot, even though obviously at this point. People are estranged and don't like each other. And I still took the high ground to go, oh, you know what? I'm not going to say anything, even though these people are constantly referencing me and saying things, and sometimes even spreading lies that they know are not true. So I think that's a point to make, is go through, and anyone that wants to go and look themselves, go through my Twitter, go search the term Tommy or Jack, go through my YouTube, go through my Twitch, anything you want. I promise you'll find not a single time, because it's just not, I don't know, it's not how I am, and it's also not, it hasn't happened.
And that's kind of where we are now, to be totally honest. I think, honestly, this whole thing started with, like, honestly, probably, God, how did this, dude, you're gonna have to bear with me to monetize everything. That chatter freaking gets it. Right. So, I think
why did
for
it start?
Full context, I think this started with the video Tom released titled, "If YouTubers Were Honest."
Okay. So, I want to let him talk a little bit more, see if he says anything about it. But
Isn't it? This is where this started. And it was obviously Tom's take on the one-sided Twitter beef between Dream and Quackity. Okay. Cool. So I think
it's kind of important to talk about this specifically because it's just not true. It may be what Tommy told you, Tubbo. It may be what Tommy told you. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know the inner workings of your friendship. I don't know the inner workings of, I don't know, the whole Brighton crew's relationships with each other. I don't know. But Tubbo, this started actually with me sending a message to Tommy about him making pedophile jokes about me before my allegations came out. And how I didn't like that, and how it was not fair, and how I didn't feel like he was treating me like a friend. That's actually how it started. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show an interaction I had with Tommy prior to the allegations, which I also obviously will talk about more later, and also prior to the video that came out that Tommy made that I also obviously had a problem with. But I'm gonna go ahead and show that. So first of all, here is our message. I don't know if I have it. Do I have it pulled up on my phone? Let me see. Yeah, so I mean, I said, hey, are we even friends, dude, to Tommy. He said, yeah, why? What's up, man? Question mark, sad face. I said, it just doesn't feel like it. I try and justify it by you being younger or by you just trying to fit in or taking a character too far or whatever, but that doesn't mean anything when it's just a repetitive pattern over and over. And I hold my tongue out of fear of coming across like an asshole because I like to think that I have a very thick skin, but I just feel like shit because of it. I feel like you are being a dick to me on accident, and it's just happened far too many times for me to think that it's quote unquote on accident. And it just makes me think that there's a lot more to it. Now, this actually was in response to Tommy making a joke that because basically there's a React channel called React. I'm sure a lot of you know about them. They made a React video to Dream Manhunt, and there was a bunch of reactors in it that did reactions. And I had DM'd pretty much every reactor that was in the video saying, hey, thanks for reacting to my video. That's awesome. You know, thank you. I appreciate it. Whatever. Right. And Tommy, in reaction to that, a secondary video that they did where someone said that, and they happened to be a girl, he made, I don't remember what the exact comment was. I'm sure that people after this will find the clip, but he made a comment saying essentially, oh, of course, what a nonce. Like, of course Stream's going to do that. Like, oh, wait, was she a kid? Like, of course. And that type of thing was something that I had talked to Tommy about before, and that Tommy had actually done again and again and again and again. This is all prior to, obviously, the allegations came out later. And I expressed to Tommy in private that, hey, you're perpetuating this image that I am a creep, that I'm somehow creepy for, DMing a reactor saying, hey, thanks for the reaction. And I don't like that. And that can make me a target to people to give false allegations, which, guess what, ended up happening. And I'm not saying that it's 100% Tommy's fault. It's not. That'd be ridiculous to insinuate, but it is something that obviously was very frustrating. And I sent him obviously the rest of this message, which I don't have all the rest of it to show, but I'm going to go ahead and read it out. And I can show it later. So I said, you've done it too much, and things feel like there's a lot more to it. I feel like you have such a dream of what you want your fan base to be, and part of that means shitting on me constantly to cater to the people that despise me just for existing. And that hurts because I know that I wouldn't do that to one of my friends. I don't care about mean jokes or poking fun or whatever, especially due to your character. Literally everyone I know does that to each other, and I don't feel bad when it comes to anyone else. I have always been nothing but extremely positive about you publicly and privately, and you're one of the few people I even talk to at all, even if we don't talk all the time. I just don't talk to that many people. You say all the right things in private, and it always makes me feel good, and I forget about my feelings for a few days, but then it's like I don't even exist as your friend outside of in private. I can't even express how it feels without feeling stupid, because it's not one thing, it's just a collection of everything. I feel stupid even saying this because you can just come back and apologize like you have many times, and I'm supposed to believe it, despite the minimal difference in the past. Like, people are getting false grooming allegations left and right, and I ask you not to make jokes like that, and you go on in a few days later and make another one putting a target on my back. And it's not even really just that. It's the fact that I know that if that was Wilbur that DM'd that reactor, or Tubbo, or one of your other friends, or even just another YouTuber that it wasn't cool to hate on, you probably would have reacted positively and said that it was sweet of them or something. But it's me, so it's a creepy joke instead of just being positive towards me other than the 2 days after I say something like this. I don't know, just really upset. It's frustrating, just feeling disrespected and used. I don't know exactly how I feel, just not good. I feel like I've done so much for you and always treated you with respect and appreciation, and I just feel like you don't feel the same way, even if you say you do to me. I'll probably regret saying this tomorrow, but it's how I feel, so take it as you will. I'm gonna go try and sleep. Now, again, I'm not gonna read into more of our private messages, but I do think that it's important because this is a private thing that happened that is not public, and so people, when they try and form their opinion or form, an understanding of the timeline of when things happened, they go back to they say things publicly and they go, oh, so it was when Tommy made the video. No, this happened prior to that. This was prior to that video. So obviously things build up and things happen in certain ways, and you're never going to fully understand somebody's mindset until they, unless even when they do show everything or share everything, because you can't understand why, every interaction they've ever had with the person. But I do think it's important to note that obviously I had a very shaky relationship with Tommy because of the way that he treated me publicly. I was not happy with it. I tried expressing it privately many times, and it was frustrating, obviously. Now I want to continue with what Tubbo was saying to try and see if what he says right after this. I have more to say, but I want to see if he says anything that leads directly into it. And I do think, just to say as well, because I think there will be a lot of people on Twitter and elsewhere that critique me for sharing private messages. First of all, that was my private message. It was not Tommy's. That was my own private message. Yes, Tommy replied to me saying why or whatever when I asked. That's it. That's all I showed. I showed a couple words. That's it. I don't plan on showing any of Tommy's messages because he has asked me privately before not to, but I feel like that was extremely important to show. But anyway, I want to watch more of Tubbo and see what he says.
That's where this started.
So it's not where this started.
Yeah. Oh fuck, we're going back, guys. We're going fucking back, bruh. We're going back. So that's where it kind of started. I feel like that's been talked about to death, though. I really don't need to bring up the whole QSMP versus USMP stuff.
So
I feel like that's been talked about to death. I feel like if you're here right now, you have that context. You know what I mean?
Okay, so
you know what I mean?
I'll provide some context because I do feel like it's actually important to talk about for the whole, Tommy's relation to the QSMP versus USMP. Now, I don't plan on talking more specifically about the Quackity situation and whatever. I talked about that in my truth video. I shouldn't have made the tweet that I did. There's a lot of emotions running, and obviously Quackity and I were really good friends. So it was a very emotional time, and I made decisions that I shouldn't have. But I do think that it's important to mention Tommy's involvement in this, because this is a context that maybe most people do not have, and does lead into the frustration that happened due to Tommy's video. So essentially, obviously, I was working on the USMP. Behind the scenes, it was going to be a server that had a translation mod, live translation, which obviously the QSMP did amazing with, and it was awesome. And I think that obviously they did a great job. But that was the plan. I involved only a few people, kind of in the initial stages of making this, and one of them was Tommy. So Tommy was involved. This was obviously after the allegations. This was after the DreamSMP finale, and Tommy was involved in the discussions about creating the USMP. Obviously, he was a massive fan of doing it. I have I'll while I'm talking, I guess I'll try and send to my computer. I forgot about those screenshots, but and obviously was constantly asking me about the USMP, about saying, hey, when is the USMP happening? Do we need to do the USMP, and having tons of private conversations with me specifically about the USMP. And so obviously he was a heavy involved in my my discussions, and then of course whenever and then whenever Quackity, obviously the QSMP happened, Tommy was involved in the discussion surrounding that, and I still genuinely to this day am incredibly confused, about I guess specifically Quackity's intentions and Quackity's decisions and stuff. I have no idea. I feel like I'll never know. I feel like there was some barrier that there's something I don't know about. Clearly, that would be a missing puzzle piece as to why certain things happened the way that they did. At least I feel like that would be the case. But I want to pull up some screenshots. I'm just gonna play Tubbo's VOD real quick while I pull up some screenshots.
Oh, you guys know about that? Okay, you know about Dream DM Tom's mum. Okay.
Okay, actually, let's come back to this, because this is actually, I have screenshots of this. This is important. This is an important discussion as well. Okay, so basically, from my perspective, before Tommy's video, obviously I had many discussions with Tommy about the USMP. I can get more of these screenshots. Just take my word for it. Obviously he was very heavily involved. He wanted to be a part of it. He was sending me tons of messages about it. Blah blah blah. And actually, whenever Quackity launched the QSMP, I was like, hey, I'm waiting on, I told Tommy was asking me, he was bumping me, he was saying, hey, when is the essentially he's like, when is the USMP coming out? I want to be a part of it. And I said, man, I'm trying to work things out with Quackity. I don't know what to do. I'm waiting. I messaged him. He's not replying to me. And Tommy's reply was, fuck Quackity. We need to go. You can't wait on him and let him, basically take the shine, essentially. And so in that moment where that is happening, then Tommy, a month later, releases a video, which is to me, it was like the craziest. I genuinely, I was shocked. I was shocked when this video came out, and I was like, all right, well, interesting. No. So I have the video pulled up, but I want to find this part. So then I just want to play for you guys his rendition of what happened while interjecting with my interactions with Tommy. If YouTubers were honest, which also he starts this video. Disclaimer, this video is not for the faint of heart. This is a warning if you're not ready for the truth.
It's done a Minecraft server to combine multiple communities, my communities together, and bring the world together. This is an amazing idea.
Hey, I don't like that idea. It's actually my idea, not yours.
Okay, that's fine. We can both do it, I guess.
Stop ignoring me.
What?
Stop ignoring me. You haven't replied to my DMs in a whole week.
Yeah, okay, I just didn't. That's fine. I just didn't really want to.
You're not nice.
No. Oh, okay.
You're actually really bad. I don't like it. I don't like it. You're a bully. You're a bully.
Oh, okay.
I don't like it very much. I don't like it.
Fine.
So
just leave me be.
You destroyed that.
So obviously, he starts it by having it be I don't like that idea, whatever, obviously, which is just disingenuous.
Hey,
but from my perspective, I see this video and I go, wow, Tommy is on his knees for Quackity because he wants Quackity so badly to add him to his server. This is my look. Okay, this is Dream's interjecting opinion, not Detective Dream. Sorry, I should be an unbiased investigator. But from Dream's perspective, he goes, "Wow, what a dick! What a dick!" He's trying. Not only is he trying, he realized, wait, Dream right now is hated. People don't like Dream, so I can shit on Dream. Just like he took shots at people in this video. He took Logan Paul and Mr. Beast. Clearly he easy pickings. He wasn't trying to make a wasn't going for anybody controversial or anything, just going exactly with what whatever the narrative, whatever the public opinion was of people. And obviously, even though I was quote unquote his friend, he realized that he could, if he maybe if he separated himself from me publicly, that maybe Quackity would add him to the QSMP because he was trying to get on the QSMP. And at this point, I had decided not to do the USMP, and I told Tommy that. So up until this point, my only messages with Tommy are Tommy saying, "Hey, when's the USMP gonna launch? Hey, USMP's coming up. Hey." So on and so forth, right? So from my perspective, I'm going, okay. And then this video drops, right? Now, this video really, really annoyed me and upset me. And I'm sure that you can understand from Dream's perspective that makes sense. Obviously, not only is it an outright lie, because, he obviously knows, he knows this is not the perception because he's in private. So he knows the conversations. I also think that it's interesting because, let me see. I have a annoying. I have a screenshot somewhere. But anyway, it's interesting to me that that I shouldn't try and talk while I'm opening a file. But so it's interesting to me that, obviously from my perspective, this happened. And then obviously Quackity didn't add him. So I'm curious, if Quackity knew something, but I'm not, obviously I don't actually know. I don't know any of the inner workings of that. But I do think that, I want to find this screenshot. So you're gonna have to bear with me and give me just 1 second, because I do think it's important. Because a lot of people also say that Quackity, ditched me because of the allegations, and that's why he wasn't replying to me for the server. But that's not the case either. There's definitely more to it, and I want to pull up this screenshot. So give me just 1 second. So I think this is important. So what if you don't know the dates of of this screenshot I'm going to go ahead and show. This is my last DMs to Quackity before the SMP. So if you know, 3/9/2023 is one day, one singular day prior to the announcement of the QSMP. Okay? One day. And Quackity said, hey dude, miss you too. Are you coming to the Streamer Awards? Right? Replying normally, I said, hey, been fun talking even though we hadn't a ton of interactions. You know, we had been playing games recently or whatever. And so it was like, hey, you know, been fun talking to you. I miss you. And he said, yeah, I basically miss you too. You know, you're coming to the Streamer Awards. This is one day before the QSMP launched, right? So it's Quackity. Obviously, we were friends, you know, privately. We made content together, even way after the allegation. I'm not bringing Quackity into this at all. This is not a slight on Tommy. This is to give context to the Tommy situation. So obviously then the next day, whenever he launched the QSMP, I said, hey, I just want to let you know, I've been working on an SMP that will have people from different countries in it as well. So I don't want you to feel like I'm stealing your idea when that happens. I would love to hear more about your SMP though. Right? That's my message to Quackity about it, saying, you know, hey, I hope to hear more. Obviously, at the time, I thought that I had maybe the naive assumption that, oh, Quackity would be a part of my SMP, and I didn't know about Quackity's SMP, so it's you know, that's how it worked out. But anyways, this is obviously, Tommy knows this. Tommy knows about these messages. Tommy also knows about, you know, our interactions, you know, after that. And he also was privately behind the scenes saying, you know, let's do the USMP. They can compete. It doesn't matter, you know, et cetera, et cetera. As I'm trying to make things work behind the scenes, I'm obviously messaging Quackity and him portraying me, you know, saying like, no, it's my idea. It's not true. My messages and my text to Quackity, which I think I shared a while ago, I was, hey, let's figure out something to make this work. You know what? You know, essentially, yeah. Why aren't you communicating? Let's communicate. Let's, you know, I'm fine. I don't even know if I said I'm fine with not. I think I said I'm fine with not doing it. It's not worth our friendship. You know, whatever. But I think that there was something that happened here, and it, you know, obviously I can put my tinfoil hat on like Tubbo and say I think it could be Tommy. I think it could. There is a chance that it's Tommy somehow in this regard, because I don't know what does Quackity think? Does Quackity think that I'm, you know, like, is Tommy in his ear saying, Dreams, you're doing this server, and he's, you know, telling Quackity things or something? I don't know. I have no idea what's happening. All I know is from my perspective, I'm going, okay, I have this cool server idea. I want to involve all my friends. I make it, and then I'm talking to Tommy about it. Quackity launches a similar idea, and I go, oh shit, I don't want him to feel like I'm trying to rip him off or something. So I reach out to Quackity. I say, hey, you know, whatever. And then obviously months go by behind the scenes where there's no replies. And then I obviously out of, you know, I don't know. Obviously this was after the allegations, but it was still something that I was getting people saying things to me about. And so it was something that was very, I was very sad, very frustrated, very confused about the whole Quackity situation. And I thought, oh, it might be, you know, if he's not replying to me privately, maybe he'll reply to me publicly. That was stupid. As I said in the truth video, in other videos, I'm sorry for that. It's just something I shouldn't have done. I don't like, you know, I think unprovoked, you know, in that case where he wasn't saying anything publicly, clearly for whatever reason it was, he didn't want to interact with me. I still to this day don't know what those reasons are, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It's, you know, he has his reasons for doing what he wants. But anyway, that was, you know, a big reason that I was so upset by, you know, this video was that it was, if you, given that context, it's just, it's not that it's not funny. It's that it's lies. It's so not funny that it's over into the, you know, lie standpoint. I'll play more of it just so you guys can see. But.
Hate, though, man. It's no hate. It's just love, man. It's just love. I think you're a bad person. That's all. But it's no
That's
hate.
just an insane response to this.
I didn't say anyone to hate on you, man. It's all love. It's all love from me. I just think that you're the worst person ever.
It's what?
Wear a smile. Wear a smile more. Smile more. Big friendly dream. Big friendly happy dream. Because you fucked it. You fucked up. So, not my fault, really. Not my fault, is it now?
But you just...
Not really anything to do with me anymore. Also, while I'm here, I've got to ask, will you buy any of my plushies, please? It's only $350. Everyone can afford one.
So I think that obviously there was a disconnect here where, you know, if you watch this from the very, very beginning and you say Dream versus Quackity, and then you know Tommy's perspective, and you know my perspective, he makes it out to be this when his opinion privately was not only was it not this was not his opinion, this was not what he expressed privately, in, you know, even in showing support to me privately, support to the USMP privately. It was in my mind such a selfish, this is just me being completely honest, selfish, money grabbing, no backbone move. It is. he wanted to join the USMP, and then when the USMP, and he to the last second was like, no, fuck Quackity, fuck the QSMP, we can make it, whatever. And then when I decide, I say, you know what, I don't want to do the USMP. I don't want the, I feel like there's too much drama, whatever. I don't want to do it. Then he goes and does this and drops this video. Obviously, what am I to think? What am I on my perspective to think, right? And so obviously, when this happened, I sent Tommy a scathing message. I don't remember exactly everything I said, but I said like, I just basically said what I'm saying now. I was like, bro, what a lie. Like that is a lying, fake, this isn't true. You said this, here's your opinion. Why are you manipulating your audience? Essentially, like, yes, it was scathing. It was mean. It's not something that obviously that I even after I sent it, I was like, damn, maybe that's a little too harsh, because obviously Tommy is learning as a creator. Tommy is young, et cetera, but it doesn't matter. I'm sitting there going, what do my feelings not matter? And then of course from this perspective, this was during a time when I was actively being doxxed. I was actually actively being harassed. There's people showing up at my house, putting trackers on people's cars. And Tubbo mentions this later and says like, I don't like that Dream uses that as sympathy, but it matters for context, because Tommy is someone that has behind the scenes, and in many other occasions says that it's not like, if you think that your action's going to cause anything like that, even if it's not your intention whatsoever, that you should never do that action, right? Which some people have that opinion, like about tweets as an example, like where we've had disagreements on like, oh, you shouldn't quote retweet someone or whatever because it could cause them harassment. And he's always been on the side of no matter what, if there's harassment to be caused, you can, you want to avoid it. And so I think that in a world where he's being honest in this video, and where, it's his actual opinion, and, so on and so forth, then I still would be like, oh, it's going to cause problems. And if you care about somebody, you wouldn't want to do it. But it's the fact that it's not true. He knows it's not true. And he's pandering to a side of his audience, to try and, I don't know, to accomplish what? I don't know, I don't think it was just for YouTube views. I do genuinely think it was to do with him being scared of being on Dream's side of like the QSMP, USMP issue. That's my speculation. My speculation is that Tommy was afraid of being on Dream's losing side of the QSMP, USMP situation. And how can you make it clear, I'm not on Dream's side, even though he was, is to do a video like this. That's my personal thoughts. Obviously, doesn't mean that it's true. Could be completely wrong. It's a guess, because I have honestly no idea. But then what happened after that, obviously, is Tommy's mom, which is an interesting thing. So I want to go ahead and I'll switch back to Tubbo to have him say this, and then I will reply to that. Because also, it's just, I'll let him speak.
You know what I mean? Oh, you guys know about that. Okay, you know about Dream DM Tom's mum. Okay, so you do have the context that surrounded that video that happened there. So you do have that context, huh? Yeah. So this is where okay. So on to the podcast, on to shut up, I'm talking now. Where what? Monka? Yeah, what we don't? Yes, we do. No,
I'm just gonna let him play this all out, and then I'll
this is one of my
talk about
gripes. I obviously I can't speak for how anyone else feels, because obviously these are just my thoughts and opinions and stuff. But I believe that like that is a massive overstep of personal boundaries, and personally I would be mad. He did what? Explain please. Yeah, basically when Tom dropped the If YouTubers Were Honest video, Dream DM Tom's mum, and was like, I don't exactly know what it says because it was a message, and I'm like, that's a massive overstep of personal boundaries, because like you have friend boundaries and then you have like your inner core circle, and I'm like, from that point on I was like, yeah, okay, what the fuck.
So
but obviously it was all, dude, it's hard to explain because
So I let this clip play out before responding, because I think it's important to have the context and the way that he says it, right? Now, obviously, I feel like almost no matter what, even, I mean, maybe not in like a crazy world where Tommy's doing something like insane, but I feel like there's almost never a time to unprompted, like if Tommy was to just reach out, text my mom, hey, get Dream in check, like that's not cool. That's obviously a pushing of boundaries no matter what. That's not what happened. It's very disingenuous to phrase it like that. So I'm going to go ahead and explain the context of that. And I'm also going to show the DM that happened. Because yes, I did DM Tommy's mom, but here's the context as to why. So first of all, I should be playing F5. No, you got to see Detective Dream. But essentially, Tommy's mom is an active Twitter user. For those who don't know, she has a Twitter account that she posts on, and everyone knows it's Tommy's mom. She's not anonymous. She doesn't whatever. She has social media, and everyone knows that it's his mom. It's not, she tweets out, she says things, she replies to his tweets, she interacts with fans, whatever, right? Whenever this video dropped, Tommy's video dropped about, the USB, my fans were obviously very upset. Some of them were being over the top. Some of them were, but they were very emotional, because in their mind, for a lot of them, it was like, oh my God, disc duo, Tommy and Dream, they're no longer friends, essentially. I mean, they would make that assumption, and they would have assumed correctly based on this video. And so a lot of my fans were extremely upset, and they were tweeting. And I'd have to, know the exact context, but here's, an example of, I think, let me see if this is, so like, here's a tweet, that Tommy's mom made, and she was actively replying to fans, right? To, my fans. And I'm not saying that these people were being, whatever, but in this case, this person says, your son's behavior is not appropriate at all, which is why I bring, because she's obviously replying to somebody that, the same person that's, tweeting publicly. And I believe it's inappropriate for me to respond to people who include, and they said like, why do you, they were critiquing her for responding to fans, and she's still, arguing back and forth with these people. Now, obviously, what I'm about to say is you could technically say about me. So I guess maybe it's only my opinion because she's his mom and not a content creator. But why are you on Twitter arguing with 16-year-old Dream stands about the fact that they don't like Tommy's video? Why is that happening? Why is that a thing that's happening? That shouldn't be a thing that's happening. That should just not be a thing that's happening. But the thing is again, people could say that about me and say, why are you arguing with, certain haters, that whatever. So I also understand, the sentiment that she shows in this tweet when she says, on this tweet that, I think if I mention I have every right to respond, because I think they said like, your mom didn't raise you right or something, which is rude. And that's not something that I don't support someone saying that, but they're just mad, and it's like a random, kid on Twitter probably saying it. And then she's like, but she says something that I actually agree with. I think if I mention, I have every right to respond. Why on earth should I be silent and simply accept name calling and rudeness? I definitely wouldn't accept it in real life. Preach. So why that's exactly what Tommy, had expressed. That's one of the only issues Tommy had ever expressed privately to me, was with me replying to people in that exact same scenario. So I actually agree with her on this. And so as she's actively replying to, Twitter accounts, she's replying to stans and fans that are talking, that are talking about Tommy's video, I sent her a DM. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my DM up on the screen, and I'm going to read my DM. And I will say, before I read this DM, that after the fact, later on, when Tommy told me he was upset that I DM'd his mom, because he essentially just said, oh, it's not cool you DM my mom, whatever. And obviously this was after his video, so we were not friends at this point. I apologized to Tommy. I said, yeah, you know what? I didn't look at it like that. I see how you could look at it as me going over your head. I wasn't going over your head. She was replying to people on Twitter, and I messaged her, in regards to that. And she was expressing opinions about the video, about Tommy's video, saying, like, oh, she thinks it's okay, and that, that it's just comedy and whatever, right? So she's expressing her opinion, and I wanted to let her know my opinion. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll show you those DMs. So this is my DM to Tommy's mom. An essay, I know. As always. So I'm gonna go ahead and read it. I said, I'm gonna go ahead and put off, I just thought I'd let you know that I don't agree with lots of people replying to you, and I don't want you to be attacked at all. So that's, first of all, that's how I start my message to her, is me saying, hey, just so you know, I don't want you to get attacked. I don't support anyone that's attacking you or saying mean things. I don't support that. I said, I will express that I do agree with some of the people replying, because Tommy knew that would happen and knew what I had happen with my family as well, as he has critiqued me strongly for my tweets that caused doxing and harassment, saying, it's going to cause doxing, so why do it? Even though I always reply that it's not my silly reply that's the problem, it's the person doxing or whatever that's the problem. Like you've said about his video, that's never what his opinion has been. His video is outwardly dishonest, as he knows far more about the situation, and he takes a side with his skit, which he knew would cause tons of issues. I also don't agree that it was that's in between them, and then I say after it, I also don't agree with people that it was an ableist portrayal, and I don't agree that he wants my family to be harassed or doxxed. I will reiterate, though, that it has already and will cause more problems and harassment for my friends and family, and obviously myself, and that I have had people reach out already from my friends and family expressing how dishonest his video was, and how many issues it's going to cause with no pluses. I got a text from my brother, from George, from almost everyone I know that was involved at all in this situation, that knew the context to the whole QSMP situation, being like, whoa, why is Tommy just lying to his entire audience? Literally, I wish I could find those texts and show you. Maybe I could. But I got texts from my family members being like, why is Tommy lying? Essentially, that had been in conversation with me, obviously at dinner, another time over the past month, saying, hey, here's what's happening with the QSMB. Here's what do you know, my family would be like, hey, what are you working on? I'm working on a live translation mod. We're doing this and that. Oh, we saw what happened with Quackity. What's going on? Oh, yeah, no, I don't know. I'm trying to DM Quackity. Here's what's happening. Here's Tommy. Tommy even had conversations sometimes, like very rarely with like Drista or one of my family members. And so I obviously, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I want to make sure that she, his mom is expressing a public opinion about his video and interacting with my fans, and I want her to know what my opinion is. And I think that in my mind, I wouldn't do it because I wouldn't want to upset Tommy, but I would not do it because it's some weird, crazy overstep of boundaries. She's on Twitter actively tweeting at people, and I privately reach out saying, hey, just so you know, you're saying stuff about this video that involves me and you're interacting with my fans. Here's my opinion. I think that is, in my mind, it's very reasonable. Again, I think that if I could go back, I wouldn't do it, but primarily because clearly it really upset him and it also upset his mom, which I don't want to do that. I know my intention with this message was not at all to upset his mom or upset him. It was literally just, hey, you're saying this publicly, you're getting attacked by people publicly. I want to let you know how I feel about that. I want to make sure you know that I'm not okay with that. I want to make sure you know my personal opinion on the video, and I want to make sure you know the impact that that's having on me and my family right now. I think that's incredibly fair, and it's people. There's people on, I think even on, the whole Brighton group and Tommy and his friends side that use this as like a way to say that I am some manipulative, horrible person, or use this as like a backing to say, see, he's so manipulative. He even went to your mom to try and get you to, whatever. It's like, that's not what happened. It's very disingenuous to imply that in some way me sharing this message with her is like manipulative. And I think that, Tubbo, obviously, in this case, it phrased it like I just DM'd his mom out of nowhere because Tommy wasn't replying to me, which isn't what happened. That is just not what happened. And again, I don't know if that's what Tommy is telling Tubbo what happened. I don't know. I'm guessing not. I'm guessing it's just there's some miscommunication. Maybe Tommy's not communicating as much. But that's not what happened. It's not what happened. I did not DM Tommy's mom because Tommy wasn't replying to me. And my message to Tommy's mom, as you can see on screen, is just a very nice, normal message to somebody that is actively engaging in conversation online with my community. It was a very normal, reasonable DM. But I do think that, again, if I could go back, I wouldn't do it, but not because I think it was that, because I wouldn't want to upset Tommy. I didn't, and I obviously clearly did. But anyway, I think we can.
This is like 5
watch
years
more of this.
long of like little things. It's literally death by 1,000 cuts, dude. Like, it's literally death by 1,000 cuts. Like, there are so many things that have stacked up to this point. There are so many like little things, and to honestly know all of it is just the most insane thing ever. The most insane thing ever. Like, captions are on, bro. Refresh. There's just so much.
I don't know what he says here.
It's
I'm just
it's
letting
so
it play
deep
out.
now. So
I do agree. There's a lot of like lore,
that
and
video
everyone
came
doesn't.
out. That was like first public shots, and then Tom has
That's true.
been on his era of just like, he's on his sling and shit era. Love that for him, obviously. Yeah. What I will say is, I'm trying to be fair before I get crazy. I'm trying to be fair. The Brighton friend group, I must admit, does stir the pot a lot. This is my friend group. They do
The
stir
understatement
the pot a
of the
lot,
year,
which is
but
great. And everyone in my community is very aware of how much they stir the pot and everything. There are some things they stir the pot about where I'm like, I don't give a shit, but also like there's some things they stir the pot about and I'm like, whoa guys, this is I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Brighton crew shocker. We do a bit of stirring.
Yeah, and I will say as well before I continue, okay, just I think this maybe something I should have said at the very beginning of the stream. 2 things. One, I know a lot of you watching this, or even people seeing clips of this, or whatever. I know a lot of you don't like me, or you think very negative of me, or you have, these opinions. And sometimes those opinions are formed based on, years, like Tubbo said, years and years and years of information that's gone into your brain, or personal experiences you had, whether it's with me or my fans or with anybody. But you have to, when you're evaluating a situation, that's why I'm kind of pulling out the Detective Dream fit, is I'm looking at it from Detective Dream, right? Yes, I'm interjecting as Dream, and I'm showing, I'm giving Dream's opinions, but at the same time, I'm also providing the evidence and the facts to the situation, because you can't, there's been a big trend over the last couple of years where people are either forming their opinions based on their audience, or have an opinion that's formed based on something that they don't want to share publicly because they know that people would disagree with their opinion, and then they just say behind the scenes. Or they say, well, I don't know, I just think this. And, or publicly they'll say, they'll imply it's because of very negative things. Like somebody from the Brighton group will imply that, or even outright say, essentially, that they don't, they don't like Dream because Dream's a creep, or Dream's a weirdo, or Dream's a pedo. And that's not okay. If you don't have evidence to back up the reason that you think that, and you're just thinking it because of your own negative perception of Dream over the, or whatever, you don't like that I'm mean on Twitter, or, whatever. That's not fair. That's not fair. And you just can't operate like that. That's not cool. It's not fair. It's not right. It's not how anybody should operate. I think Tubbo does a great job of talking about this in this, in this stream. I think Tubbo is obviously biased because he has they are his friend group, but I do have a lot of respect for Tubbo, and I have a lot of respect for the way that he has handled this drama in the past. He's one of the people that, hasn't been throwing shots. He's one of the people that hasn't, been implying, creepy things about me or, my friends or, whatever. He's one of the people that has stayed more, not even neutral, just like fair, like honestly, genuinely fair. And I think that Tubbo has had genuinely good critiques of me, genuinely good critiques of Sapnap, genuinely good critiques of George. He has had valid critiques that me and Tubbo have even talked privately about, some of those things in the past. And I think that's incredibly fair. It's fair. You can totally not like somebody, don't like whoever you want. It's personal opinion. Doesn't matter. But don't imply that you don't like somebody because of illicit means if you don't have like any evidence to support those feelings. And or just be upfront that, it's just based on this. Like that way people don't speculate and make up rumors and spread things behind the scenes that just aren't true. Obviously, I'll talk more about some phone calls I've had. I'll talk more about the behind the scenes rumors soon. But I do think it's important to say that my intention with this live stream is not at all to spread hate to anybody. I'm sure there will be hate spread. That's exactly what happened before, where we were talking about Tommy's mom replying to people and Tommy's video and whatever. The intention of this is to clear up misinformation and also break the barrier that there has been between the community and creators. There's been a massive barrier right now where there's this big barrier between the creators and the community, where they're not sharing information between each other. And so because of that, both sides are making assumptions and I don't know, like causing rumors to spread about everybody, not even just me. I'll touch on this later because there's been rumors spread about these people as well. And the difference is I don't go around perpetuating them. I don't go around spreading them. And I think that is a big difference. Anyway, we can continue with what Tubbo's going to say here.
Yeah. Okay, so, collecting my thoughts, where are we? Where to begin? Okay. We need to start with the podcast. God, does this really start with Misgift? What year is it? Oh my fucking god. Okay, right. Oh my fucking god. So, also, I have not read the Reddit post.
I was just messing with somebody.
Okay, so it starts off with, oh my fucking god. Right, I'm in deep. I've spent this time.
So honestly, I think I'm just going to skip through this part where he's saying it begins here. And instead of that, I'm just going to explain from my perspective where it begins, right? Obviously, from my perspective, it begins with what he said throughout this, and also what has been, said throughout this live stream is essentially that obviously there was a lot of stuff beforehand. And then for the last year and a half, there have been people like Jack, Tommy, Harry, others that have been, taking jabs, bullying me, attacking me and spreading lies about me. And that's been happening over the last year and a half. So obviously that's it. This people saying Dream started this. It's like ridiculous. Like I yes, in this instance, I was not technically involved. Obviously my name was mentioned, but I was not technically involved. But I did not, this was not people saying like Tommy lives rent free in my head. Like, no, that's not, he's been jabbing at me in videos, podcasts, on every platform essentially for the last year and a half. I've never done anything. I've actually been even privately been kind to, Tommy hit 50 mil and I sent him a text saying, hey man, congratulations. I remember when I hit 50 mil, it was great. I think that's my last DM or any private interaction with Tommy. And obviously we were not friends at that point, but it was just me, trying to be friendly. Anyway, so obviously, yeah, what happened between, what happened on Twitter right now, was, there was like drama with like, Tommy said something about, Miskiff and I'll be honest, like I think that there's different, strategies and stuff to how you get attention online. I think that there obviously you can start drama and beef, and that's been a way for a very long time, whether it be through diss tracks or through, arguments or whatever. And Tommy obviously like Tubbo said, that's been Tommy's strategy recently, has been, getting and like not with people that don't deserve it usually, or critiques that don't, don't deserve it. He'll talk about, Logan Paul, or he'll talk about Mr. Beast, or he'll talk about, whatever. And that's how he's been recently. That's kind of how he's been operating recently. Now I think that this is an important conversation. So I'm going to go ahead and show, I'm going to go back a little bit more than what Tubbo's going back from. So I want to talk about the Logan Paul situation. And I'm going to have a very unique take on this as someone who obviously has interacted with Tommy and has my experiences with Tommy. But I'm on Tommy's Twitter, right? So obviously Logan Paul obviously, deserves a shit ton of criticism and for a lot of the shit that he's done, a lot of the, negative things that he's been involved with, whether it be related to crypto or related to, different, companies or whatever. And so obviously Tommy, knowing that, decides to take advantage of that, makes a tweet, he says, like he tweets about Tommy having, saying Prime, showing that Logan Paul is doing a Prime ad during like Gaza conflict thing, which is terrible. He should not do that. Deserves criticism. And I don't think that this tweet by Tommy is a problem. And of course, Logan Paul says that offline glaze and shows, tweets to, show that Tommy's like messaging him, off the screen. And then of course Tommy, they continue their beef. And then, of course, Tommy gets mad at him and says, why do you keep posting private messages to me being kind to you? Are you stupid? Now, the unique take that I'm going to have here is that, first of all, Logan Paul is completely in the wrong. I mean, that's not unique, I guess. But the unique part is that what Logan Paul is showing with these messages is something that his, Tommy's fans or other fans that were involved in this just, didn't really clock or think about, is that these problems that you have with Logan Paul and that I have with Logan Paul, they date back, right? They date back. They're from years ago, very public. Everyone is aware of them. Everyone knows that they've happened. Everyone knows about the suicide forest. Everyone knows about the crypto scams. Everyone knows about these things. These are things that have happened. Tommy knew about these things, but even when knowing about these things, he's in his DMs, calling him, inviting him to stuff, trying to get invited to stuff, being friends with him, talking to him. Now, again, this isn't to support Logan Paul. Logan Paul's a dickhead. He shouldn't have done what he did. He shouldn't have done the fucking Prime ad during Gaza. That's a shit thing to do. And Tommy's tweet isn't, initially about it isn't bad. But does this not show that Tommy is disingenuous? Does this not show that Tommy is disingenuous? Tommy is in Logan Paul's DMs being friendly with him, even after all these terrible controversies. And then the second he can get public clout from it and get public attention, likes and views from shitting on Logan Paul, then he does it. That's disingenuous. That's not cool. If Tommy was, and that's why when I said the no backbone comment, which obviously Tubbo, talked about on my thing, this is the stuff I'm talking about. He has no backbone. It's not, he doesn't have any problem with what Logan Paul has done. He wants to gain the attention and the benefits of shitting on him because he knows that everyone will give him likes and everyone will give him attention and views for shitting on him, which good for Tommy, but that's something to be pointed out, and that is a pattern that has happened across my interactions with him and his interaction with Logan Paul. And so when my issue with Tommy from before was his disingenuousness. He'd be making jokes about me, like jokes that are not okay, making pedophile jokes before there was problems like that, that obviously contributed to an image of me, being a creep or whatever that people, people were saying back then. And then behind the scenes be like, oh, no, we're best friends, we're besties, whatever. Let's call about YouTube. And just for context, guys, I know obviously, there's the whole philza, tweet thing, which I guess I'll talk about it well at some point. But I will say that I don't know how many people know this, but me and Tommy pretty much called almost daily, maybe every other day for hours talking about YouTube. He has documents with tons of YouTube strategy things. We never had any, there was no contracts. I never had any, I never gained any money from Tommy. I didn't make a single dollar off the Dream SMP. It was out of friendship and also me, the kindness of my heart, wanting to learn, wanting to talk to Tommy, that I had those, those calls. And so whenever, we're talking, and then also, I guess I'm getting a little bit off track, but people in saying that that I love taking credit for people's success, like what credit have I taken? I've not taken credit for anybody's success. The only thing you can remotely point to is that one tweet, which was obviously a joking thread between me and Tommy, but also initially started as Tommy taking credit for Philza's YouTube. Tommy replied to Philza. I'll go back to it. I'll get back to that. Don't worry. But sorry, it's frustrating. It's so frustrating. But anyway, and I've said this, I've actually probably word for word said this, but I'll say it again. I do not take credit for anybody's success on the Dream SMP or anybody that I've done content with. The only reason I made content with these people is because they're talented, successful people. That's it. The only thing that you could remotely give me credit for is shining a spotlight on them. That's it. Obviously, yeah, when I was getting large viewership at the beginning of COVID and so on and so forth, I shined a spotlight on some of these, creators by having them join the Dream SMP or making content with them. They would have eventually been successful no matter what, because they are successful people and they are talented creators. The only thing that I did was point a spotlight and go, hey, look at these guys. These guys are successful. These guys are cool. These guys make good content, and they made videos with them and did live streams and stuff. That's all I did. So I've said this before, but I'll say it again. I never have, and I never would take credit for, the success of anybody, even people that I make content with and strategize with every single day. Even people that I channel manage George and Sapnap and my own channel. And you'll never go find a clip of me alluding to the fact or saying outright or in any regard implying that I made George or made Sapnap, because we made each other. We work together. We are a team. We have equal contribution to each other's success. Without George, I would not have succeeded. Without Sapnap, I would not have succeeded. And I believe that all with each other, it's the same thing, vice versa. So anyway, we can talk about that more later, but I do think that it's really important to note, I guess in this, second, just trying to get back to the right. Yeah, I think it is really important to note that it's not, I don't think that Tommy is, a dick for doing this, but I think that it's just disingenuous. And Tommy, I want to, I guess, like, speak to Tommy here. Tommy, I know you're like Jack or whatever, you're probably seeing red, or you think honestly, I don't know what you think right now, but no one likes to hear people say things like this about them, and I am being very negative, obviously, but I think that at heart Tommy is a good person. I think Tommy makes great content. I think he's very dedicated. He's insanely motivated. He works hard every day. He spends so much time on everything he does, whether it be his shows or even with the Dream SMP. He had a lot to do with the success of the Dream SMP. I don't think the Dream SMP would have gone 1/1,000,000th as big as it was without him. I can say those things and still have these opinions that I'm putting out there in a negative light. I can still think, hey, I give props to all these things. I think that this is something that, without being addressed or without being called out on, that it's not going to change. It's not going to change. Anyway, I think that I'll go back to Tubbo's thing. But yeah, so anyway, so for me, so I'll kind of go through. So Tommy, obviously Logan Paul stuff. So I'm seeing this stuff, right? And in my mind, it's disingenuous. It's, whatever. And then we get all the way back up to the most recent things, which of course people in whatever way they want can try and, I'll go through like Tommy's stuff, obviously, but yeah, obviously Miskiff, I don't care, whatever, they have drama. I don't really care at all. obviously, XQC, he says these guys are all cringe. Sorry, he reacted to TommyInnit's diss towards Miskiff. And of course, I don't think that's bad of X to say. He wasn't like personally attacking Tommy. He's like, all these guys are cringe. And also, any of you that know XQC know that this isn't like he's not like fuck TommyInnit, I hate him. Whatever. Like that's not the vibes. This is just XQC's live on stream all the time, reacting to stuff. He sees the tweet. He goes, these guys are both cringe. Whatever. Right. So then, obviously, Tommy says to be more cringe than TommyInnit. It's pretty fucking hard, but you pulled it off, pal, right? And then he shows a picture of fucking XQC wearing a Donald Trump shirt, which is fucking cringe, right? You have a shirt of Donald Trump. I think even XQC would be like, yeah, putting Donald Trump's face on a shirt is cringe, right? So then, and of course, then, but of course, obviously X replies with, saying, how is it, how is it doing a stream with how is it a diss doing streams with, with the president? Because obviously, you can have your opinion on Donald Trump, but obviously doing a stream with the president is something that almost anybody, even political commentators that hate Trump, would want a chance or want an opportunity to do a live stream talking to Trump or any president, really, because they want to ask questions or anything at all. So I don't think that that's necessarily the win that X thinks it is, but I do think that that's what he's saying by it. And I think that it's interesting. Obviously, people took that and were running with that as, so I jumped in because, XQC is getting, shit on for being a Trump supporter or, whatever. And I want to say this. So first of all, I think it's important to note that I don't know XQC's political, alignment. We haven't talked politics. I don't know his political stances, but he's a Canadian. He's from Canada. And as far as I know, he is not a big, massive Trump supporter. I've never seen him make a tweet supporting Trump. I've never seen him make replies supporting Trump. I've never seen any of that. I think that, so I in my mind, and obviously people that, obviously would, people that don't like XQC or don't like, or are Tommy fans or, whatever, are going to turn with them and be like, oh, XQC is the Trump supporter, therefore fuck XQC. And I think that that's unfair. Given the fact XQC is a Canadian. He's a Canadian. He can't vote. He hasn't expressed anything publicly of Trump. And the only thing that he has said in that regard right there was him saying, hey, I got to do a stream with the president. How is that a diss? And obviously X mentions me. He says you went from dick writing dream for a living to making jokes to teenage girls. Lock in. Now obviously I don't even know the context to any more of that. I don't know anything about I don't know X's political, things, nor do I really care. I don't know X's opinion on Trump. I don't know X's opinion on any politics because we haven't talked it. And I don't care because I'm not a political streamer. I'm not a, whatever. I play Minecraft. That's it. But my thought was, oh my God, this is like the 10th person I've seen Tommy, attack in the last, however long, in the last, I don't know, 6 months or 5 months or whatever. That's like he thinks is easy pickings to get, get Twitter likes on or, whatever. Obviously with his initial reply, and X is my friend. I like X. X is my friend. And I'm saying, okay, so this is happening. This is not only is, Tommy, fuck Tommy. Tommy's doing this to me and he's doing this to my friends all the time. Now he's like spreading his wings because he's getting, attention from it and he's starting to do it to more people. And so mine had nothing to do with me jumping in had nothing to do with, like Tommy's specific tweet about this and nothing to do with, and nothing to do with like the drama specifically between X and Tommy or between Miskiff and Tommy, other than that thinking that they're all kind of stupid and that Tommy's just like, Tommy's being rude. He's just, he's starting beef and starting drama, shit slinging for like no reason really. I mean, I guess other than attention. And so that was the only reason I felt any need to say anything was me being like, oh, this is annoying. Now obviously I'll go to my tweet in a second, but I also would like to talk about this tweet for a second. So first of all, getting, into the disingenuousness, Tommy and I have talked about, politics very vaguely. Tommy and I have talked about specifically Trump because obviously there was drama, 2020 or, whatever. And Tommy knows my political point of view and Tommy knows my opinions and knows that this is just a lie and an attempt to get people to shit on me for, being a Trump supporter and being, that's the reason I got involved when he knows that's not the case. He knows that I got involved because of, my problems with him. He knows that I got involved because he's been, shooting shots at me for a while. So it's just very like, it's a W, whatever, you get 100,000 likes, like cool. But it's disingenuous because he doesn't care about the fact that he's lying. He doesn't care about the fact that he's being dishonest. He doesn't care about the fact that, he knows that this is not why I got involved. He knows that, that people are going to make lies about me because of it. He knows that so on and so forth. But he makes the decision that he's still going to say it. And then also saying he finally cracked. It's like he's been, hitting me and hitting me and hitting me and hitting me. And I finally, I snapped. I had he's proud of, first of all, that's not what happened, but he's proud of in this phrasing, he's proud of causing a mental break, a snap, because he's been, prodding me with, and spreading lies and stuff for the last, how can you tweet that about someone that you even at one point ever looked at as a friend, let alone someone that, you've claimed to have cared about and so on and so forth. How do you do that? It's so, whatever. Right. I think that just from the mental disregard, obviously. Now I'm going to go back to my tweet, because I think that my tweet is important to talk about as well. So first of all, here's my tweet. I deleted it so you guys can look at it in all its glory. Then I'm just going to talk about it. So obviously, first of all, I didn't make this meme. I found this meme, and so I think that's it's not that important, honestly, but I think it is. It's relevant. But what I want to say about it is a couple of things. So one, first of all, I'm autistic. I also have ADHD. I guess, how do I say? I'm not ableist. I'm not. I guess that doesn't automatically mean that, but I'm not. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm not trying to discriminate against disabled people. That's obviously, that's not my intentions whatsoever, first of all. Second of all, I last, literally a year ago, less than a year ago, all of Twitter was up in arms, retweeting, celebrating, lighting off fireworks when Nicholas Cantu was the slur-slinging slasher. The slur-slinging slasher. He was calling me every word in the book. He was tweeting out stuff. He called an Uber driver many things that were terrible, slurs. And during that process, many people, including Tommy's friends, many of Tommy's close friends, and including people that you may not know this, but Jack and Nicholas Cantu, good buddies. They were great friends. I'm sure he doesn't want you knowing that because of what happened after that, but that was also something that adjusted my opinion of Jack back then, was that I was like, wow, how are these guys friends? Who is this guy's terrible, right? So then of course that's going to adjust my thoughts on Jack. But anyway, these people supporting, retweeting tweets that, say, call me, slurs in them, so on and so forth. Now that's not me saying, oh, everyone else did it, therefore it's okay, right? People also are taking my words as that. That's not what I'm saying. First of all, I'm still to this day, but I have, after watching what Tubbo said later, I'm less confused, honestly. But I genuinely, after I was getting shit on for using this word, was confused, because the same people that are literally in my replies getting mad at me for using the word had in the past said, hey, Dream, you can't critique Nicholas Cantu for doing this because he's neurotypical, because he's neurodivergent, because of this and that. Now, I'm perfectly fine. This is a word that's not in my vocabulary. This is a word that I don't use. This is a word that I think that generally, and I've said this before, I think that content creators and people in general should avoid using words that their audience could find offensive, just because of that. The bigger of an audience you have, or the more people you interact with, if a word is gonna, no matter what the word is, even if it's not regarded as a slur, if it's something that's going to upset your audience or the audience you're talking to, you should not use it. In the same way that if there is a streamer or a YouTuber that makes family friendly content and doesn't want you using curse words in their videos and hasn't told you privately that that's okay and is actually upset by it, you also should not use those words, because those, obviously not as bad as slurs, but they are words that make the particular audience that is being put out to uncomfortable. That's it. I think that's been my opinion. That will always be my opinion. I didn't change my opinion by making this tweet. Obviously, one, it's a meme that I found, and two, I don't know, people are in my mind, I said before, giving double standards, which I think is totally fine. You don't want, if it's never okay to say the word, or if, obviously you're, in this case, like people said, you're using it as an insult towards people, and you don't, if you're using it as an insult towards a group of people, then you shouldn't use it like that. That's fair. That's totally fair. And I understand why people, especially I understand why people would be upset by it. And I had no intention of upsetting, disabled people. That was not my intention. My intention was, maybe not upsetting, but I guess attacking part of Tommy's audience that still to this day are the congregation of the worst Dream SMP stands that are left standing, that all congregated to Tommy because he puts up with and allows and supports people that spread lies and attack other creators. They still spread pedophile allegations and lies about me and other streamers that have far less of a platform than me, that could really have, like, I am so lucky to be in the position I am where I have the platform I have to be able to respond to the allegations and be able to have people actually see my response. Most people, if you get a false allegation made about you, you don't have a platform big enough to have enough people see it to where you can actually like live your normal life and not have people shout at you on the side of the street or attack you or whatever because they think you're a pedophile. Luckily, I have a large enough platform that I was able to put out a video, the truth, that was able to go through and enough people, obviously has like 13 million views or something to have seen it to where that doesn't happen. And that's something that, I've essentially cleared my name within the community, but not within Tommy's community. And so my intention was essentially, you had two options after the Dream SMP ended, becoming a stupid TommyInnit fan, or stan, or growing up. And obviously, I was frustrated. This is something that, obviously it's not nice. It's not something, I don't think that any of the things that Tommy said are nice, but it's not nice. And I think that I totally regret having used the word or not having made a different meme or, I don't know, like cross it out or, whatever. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. That's not something that I don't want people feeling upset. And my biggest thing was I don't want it to be a reasonable assumption from people that I don't like them or would discriminate against them because of anything really, but obviously because of the obvious things, because of race or sex or so on and so forth. And the same thing applies for like, I don't want anyone to think that because you're neurotypical or whatever that I don't like you or that I think differently of you. I don't think that. This was an attack on on a particular group, large vocal group of Tommy's audience that I have a lot of problems with, that actually Tubbo mentions in his stream, which we'll go back to, that perpetuate and spread false lies about me, and Tommy supports it. Tommy probably, I don't know if he likes it, but he follows accounts that does it. He retweets accounts that does it, and that is an issue, obviously, in my mind, that I think that obviously makes me view Tommy negatively for that, and also view his audience in that regard negative. I think it's very different separating. I guess maybe I should have said stan instead of fan as well, but anyway, just to say that was also not an attack on Dream SMP fans in general. Like, I think people are also saying, "Oh, I thought you supported Dream SMP fans and so on and so forth." Yeah, I do. I don't think that every Dream SMP fan from back in the day was weird or cringe. I don't think that every stan from back in the day or even on the Dream SMP was weird or cringe. I don't think that. I've never thought that. Obviously, anyone that has watched 2 seconds of my content doesn't think that. Obviously, there was cringe behavior at different points. There were stands that were incredibly cringe, and there still are stands that are incredibly cringe. That'll always be the case. I'm sure that I'm sometimes cringe if I'm all decked out in like football, supporting my football team's gear, and I have like a stupid fuzzy pants on and a hat. Or yeah, it's for an outsider, it's like it's cringy, and it's based on obviously the context of whatever you love. And so it was not an attack on saying, oh yeah, everyone, all the Dream SMP stands, you can grow up and still be a Dream SMP stan. That wasn't, or a fan of the Dream SMP. That was not I wasn't saying, oh, you either grew out of it or whatever. It's like it's more like maturing. But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of an explanation for the lead up to my tweet. It was not to defend Trump. That obviously that's in my mind just like ridiculous. And it also was not, and it wasn't me attacking Tommy out of nowhere. It was something that has built up over time, something that Tommy obviously has been, it's been happening for a very long time. Anyway, I want to go back to, Tubbo. There we go.
Starrow tweet, which quotes Tom saying, "I've never genuinely hated anyone."
I'm gonna skip ahead in this because I think he just talks about everything I just talked about.
So I don't understand. It's a genuine reaction. What I'm saying.
So yeah, then he goes to my Reddit post, which I think is Which by the way, I deleted this before. I deleted this
haven't
post.
actually read yet.
I deleted this post before anyone had seen it. Like I made a post and I was like, and literally I thought I might do a live stream. That's what I thought. I was like, okay, I'm gonna delete it because I might do a live stream. So some of I mean, it was very short still, but anyway, so he talks about my Reddit post, which I'll play.
I haven't actually read this. I thought I'd just read this on stream, so you know it's the genuine reaction. I'll open the link in a tab where I can blow this up bigger. It says, genuinely still confused on what the rules are. Honestly, not trying.
I guess I'll skip this because this is kind of what I already talked about.
People go viral.
I just want to know what he.
Yeah, I think that's also bad.
Actually, I'll let it play.
That needs to be said. But like I said, it's.
Well, I think it does need to be said. I think he says right there. Tubbo just says, multiple people go viral calling me the R word and other words, and that he goes, obviously that's bad. I don't think that needs to be said. It does need to be said. If your community is taking part in that, and it's something that Tubbo I'm sure would agree with, and that Tommy in the past at least would have agreed with, if your community is taking part in it, retweeting things, liking things, it's very it's something that you can obviously clear up. I don't think that a lot of Tommy's fans think that. I don't think that they think that. I think that they genuinely would think, yeah, if it's Dream, it's fine. Genuinely, I think they would think that. Like I think that that's what they think. So him saying, obviously they don't think that. It's like, yeah, they do think that. They do think that. They don't look at me. They don't look at me as human. It's just the truth. A lot of like the Dream haters, whatever, don't look at me as human. They look at me as a terrible person that's done all these terrible things, that's evil, therefore I don't deserve to be treated like I'm a human, or I'm, whatever. And like I think that that's something to be, kept in mind or mentioned.
Have different language and basically different social standards, I think, is the main thing. And it's about being in tune with your own audience and not so incredibly detached. Everyone explains that it's okay because they're neurodivergent. Yeah, but see, I don't buy that. I think
that's fine. We talked about my like reasons for that, so it's the same. I think he talks about Nicholas.
You know what I mean? People just be saying shit on the internet. So like people see they get in hot water and like, oh yeah, I can say this because this and this and this. Like I think it's stupid. Massive difference. I don't know use a slur. Like I can use the F slur for example and get fucking stupid. But just didn't meeting 50 could come out.
Sorry, I'm just trying to find.
And then I saw this Reddit post and on you for using it are the same people that light off fireworks when Nicholas Cantu was that that's the voice actor of Gumball, right? Well, I don't even remember what he said. Was the slur slinging slasher, including Tommy's closest friends? Did he say the F slur? He called him the R. I don't even remember the clip.
He said a lot of stuff. I think Tubbo takes us through each of the things I want to go through, which is why I want to watch Tubbo's. But if he doesn't, then I'll kind of go back
Tommy's
and forth.
Closest friends. I think he's taken the wrong thing from that. I think probably, obviously I didn't speak about this because again, I didn't really care. Didn't involve me. You know what I mean? I think basically it's not, they're my boys and I'm biased towards them, bruh. They're my boys and I'm biased towards them. Okay.
Come on, get to the point.
Also in the back of my mind, I have a little bit. Now, I don't know if this is because I do have some kind of underlevel.
But like, why is Tubbo bouncing around saying that's not cool? Yeah, that's not cool. He's like trying to set up a way to say it to where his audience won't get mad at him for saying that it's not cool to sling slurs at me. What? Why? Why is that the case? Like, why can't you just say, yeah, guys, that's not cool? Like, and it's also funny because I bet you there's some streamers right now, like, or people watching this or creators even watching this that are like, Dream, exactly, this is what we said to you years ago, whatever. And it's like, okay, that's fine, that's fair. So apply the same standards. That's fair. That's fine. Like, I think that sometimes it can be hard when you're in the moment to realize something or to reflect well on like your audience or reflect well on like an action of yours, especially if you're getting like what's it called? Like positive reinforcement from like your audience. If you're doing something that's, you know, that's bad, sometimes you can get, which definitely happened to me whenever, you know, I was obviously, you know, blowing up, is you can get positive reinforcement on stuff that you should not get any positive reinforcement on from your audience. And then it can influence your opinion. Like, even if someone else is telling you like, oh, hey man, that's not good, or, you know, whatever, it's gonna bias your brain, and you're gonna try. It's like the cognitive dissonance in your mind of like separating yourself from what's actually right and what feels right because you're getting praise for it, essentially. It's like, it's the same thing here. It's like, why just say just say that's not cool, like, instead of it taking, you know, a minute for him to get to where I remember him saying it, but it's taking like a minute to get there.
Underneath level of resentment for Dream for how he's treated some of my closest friends. You know what I mean? But also, obviously I don't like the use of slurs and I don't condone it, but also Nicholas is also like a child actor that was drunk in an Uber, and part of me is like, dude, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean?
I don't think that this is unfair. I just think that it's just interesting watching the excuses for someone else that you know was doing something in a very, very negative way, and then the not the same level of thought, or like, hey, maybe Dream, you know, has been getting attacked and has been pushed, you know, to his limit, and wasn't thinking, or, you know, whatever. It's not, there's just not the same scrutiny. Like, I don't think this is an unfair take. I said it in my truth video that I think that, yeah, Nicholas Cantu was drunk, and, you know, and so on and so forth. And I think that it's probably not a great representation of exactly who he is. But also a lot of what he did was after the fact, was like after, when he wasn't drunk anymore. It was, you know, months later. But anyway, Tubbo doesn't know. I'm sure Tubbo doesn't know the intricate, you know, details to that situation. So
no, what you've heard horror stories from the child actor industry. And I'm like, you know what? Dream in that situation was like the full-blown adult, and what? Nicholas was like 19. I'm like, okay. Like,
I mean, I think maybe I'm wrong. I think he was 20. I think Nicholas was 20 and I was 22 or something. Maybe 23. I guess I was 23, maybe. I don't know. 23 probably. It was 23 and 20. It's like, yeah, I mean, like, sure, like, yeah, I was the adult, but also, I guess I acted like the adult. I'm the one who I made sure he got home safe. You know, I didn't fight him, even though he was like literally physically attacking me. I, you know, made sure the Uber driver was fine. I got contact with the Uber driver and made sure the Uber driver got like paid. I don't know, I guess it's not a critique on me. I was the adult in the situation. I shouldn't have had to be, but like I was.
Online, clearly like going fucking crazy. In the back of my mind, I'm like, don't get me wrong, 19 is still an adult, and you're still responsible for your own fucking actions.
When
and I
he
think
moves on from this,
I don't like what he said, and I think it's fucked up. But I think he's glitched onto the wrong thing. I think the Brighton gang wasn't necessarily celebrating him for the terrible things he said. I think they were celebrating him because they fucking hate Dream.
There we go. Okay. Cool. Yes, I agree. They're celebrating someone doing horrible actions because they hate Dream. They hate Dream. That is their reason. They're like, yeah, you know what? It's fine to do anything you want because we hate Dream. We'll give you likes, give you retweets, we'll give you support. We'll be in your corner. As long as you don't like Dream, then yes, your actions are totally justified, and, you know, whatever. And that's just like how can that be? How can that be like a reason and not be looked at as like, wow, that's pretty bad. Like that's a bad thing to do, to be supportive of these actions because you hate somebody so strongly. And then also the question really goes down to like, why, like where does that hate like spawn from, right? Like where does that hate, you know, actually come from? And I'll talk more about, again, private calls or just, you know, conversations that I had with, you know, with Jack and other people. But I do think that it's important to note that, yes, I agree with what Tubbo just said. Yeah, they did it. They supported him because they hate me. And then they're also, if they loved me in this situation, they would have been like, awesome. Yeah. Dream, great tweet, which isn't good. There shouldn't be any double standard there. Either way, it should be bad, but it's not, according to their group of friends.
Because of all of the shitty things he's done.
Like what? I don't like, I feel like there's some things that, you know, obviously I'll talk about this more later, but it's interesting. I'll talk about this more later. I think it's interesting when people say things very vaguely and then get pressed on their actual reasonings for something. It's interesting what it usually boils down to. I'll talk about it more later because it will be interesting. I have a lot of interesting stuff to share, which I think you guys will find very intriguing.
And I think that was just a vassal for that hate. I don't think they were celebrating him being the slur-slinging slasher. Like, be so
I mean, they
serious.
were, but
Like, be so serious.
they were celebrating him because they were going, wow, he's saying very hurtful things that could, they're essentially what they, at the end of the day, what they were celebrating was someone that was using slurs in a derogatory way against someone that he believed those slurs impacted, because he obviously was saying that I was gay and stuff, even though I'm not. He was saying that I was gay. He was saying, that I'm autistic, whatever. And so he was saying slurs that were targeted to me to try to attempt to hurt my feelings, which I didn't really care because again, he was drunk and whatever. But they were celebrating that. They were celebrating the intentional, degrading and belittlement towards someone that was, with the intention of being, I don't know, like being ableist and being homophobic and being whatever, even though, he doesn't, Nicholas Cantor doesn't know my like sexual orientation and, whatever. But anyway, so I'll keep watching, but
it's okay or it's not okay. The double standards are infuriating.
I think that I want to see what he says here.
People who are choosing to ignore him. I don't like that mature environment like him for how he crossed personal boundaries and entered like, personal circles of my friends in a closed door environment, not on the internet, to get his own way.
So you see how he says that? So he's talking about Tommy's mom. How is that true? In a closed door way, not on the internet? I don't know if Tubbo is misguided or if, I think realistically Tubbo's probably misguided. I think realistically, I don't think Tommy has like lied to him or anything, or maybe he has, I don't know. But like him saying that, like he said one of the reasons he doesn't like me, and then he says this and says that it's because I manipulated, went like behind closed doors to try and get his mom to someone that wasn't replying to me. When like I obviously went through it earlier, explained, showed screenshots, whatever. But like that's just not what happened. That's not what happened. I didn't go behind closed doors and any of that. That's just not, none of that happened. Like she was actively involved in the community discussion, and I DM'd her, and then I also apologized to Tommy about that later. And then obviously later on, like way, more recently, like Tommy's mom made like a shady tweet about me, and I DM'd Tommy's mom, about me having DM'd her before, and I DM'd her mom being like, yeah, I shouldn't have DM'd you before. I didn't know it would have upset you guys, whatever. And I sent that to Tommy and said like, hey, just so you don't feel like I'm going over your head, here's I did message your mom once, but here's what it was. And this was like, obviously again, Tommy and I weren't friends. So, yeah, it is interesting. It's just interesting hearing him phrase it like that. Cause like none of what he just said is true. Like, and I don't think he's intentionally lying. I just think it's like, it's just not true.
And get information that he wasn't getting out of people who were choosing to ignore him. I don't like that betrayal.
I don't understand that. Like, get information. What am I?
My closest friends. I have a problem. I also have a problem with details. I'm on about when he messaged Tom's mum after the If YouTubers Honest video come out. I think that's crazy. That's a crazy betrayal of trust, because he got, I imagine, now I might have to fact check this, take this with a grain of salt. I imagine he got Tom's mum's phone number during the worst of the doxing and the swatting during 2021, which, by the way,
didn't happen. I don't have her phone number. I didn't message.
As a piece of like, gotcha, so often, it makes me so mad. I imagine
this is him talking about the doxing situation, but like again, him saying that, it's just not true. I don't even have Tommy's mom phone number. I didn't get it during the doxing situation. I don't have it at all. And I DM'd her on Twitter, where she's an active Twitter user as Tommy's mom. Like, it's not, again, it's like in their mind, and I do think that this is partly, I think this is probably people, not even necessarily Tommy or Tubbo, within the Brighton friend group, that are going through and being like, they hear, like Tommy says like, oh yeah, you dream DM my mom. And then, I don't know, somebody, like just insert British person number one, is like, oh my God, he DM'd your mom. That's manipulative. Oh my God. He did that because he wanted to manipulate you, and he did it because he's convincing her to, then she grounds you and she takes away all your electronics. Like, bro, like Tommy was an adult. I DM'd his mom, who's an active Twitter user on Twitter, when she was replying to fans of mine about a situation involving me, giving her context to my opinions. That's it. It was not some crazy manipulative strategy. Like, it doesn't make any, like, and I also understand how, like, if you view me through this lens of, like, this horrible, terrible person, that, like, you'll jump through hoops to get to these, like, assumptions, but it's not true. It's just, like, it's not based in reality. It's based in this weird universe where, like, I'm this, like, I don't even know. Like, I think I said it last time whenever I was Detective Dream, actually. It's like, yes, guys, you know what? You know what I've came to do this stream? You know what I've came to do this stream, guys? I've came to admit, finally, to all of my evil plan! It's come together! All of the members on the Dream SMP are under NDA! And they have been for years! And I've been siphoning every dollar they've made from all of the clout that I gave them. Because I made every single one of them. And I have their parents' numbers. And I will have them executed. Executed! If they say another bad word! Another bad word! They will perish. I will kill all of them. And also, secretly, I hate all of you. All of you. Because of your gender and your sex. And because I'm homophobic. I hate all of you. And I always have. You got me. But it's too late. It's gone through. The plan has been executed. I'll see you guys soon. In hell. Like what? Like I genuinely, I don't understand what this image is in their head. Like, that's also some of those things I said. Like, we never had an NDA. We never had any contracts on Dream SMP. There was no NDAs, which was another, like, rumor that people made up afterwards. And, like, some SMP members spread that. Some Dream SMP members spread that. Like, I'm pretty sure unintentionally that was something that Hannah Rose spread. Like, and again, Hannah, I'm not dragging her at all. I think she just heard the rumor from, I don't remember who it was, but it was someone else, and then ended up, like, saying it to people. And then it became like a thing. And it wasn't like, that's just not true. It's just like a rumor mill that, like, goes, and then it adds to this image where all these things stack up. You're like, oh my God, this guy is evil. And he's a pedophile, an evil, racist, homophobic pedophile. And it's like, guys, please step back for a second, step back from your echo chamber, sit down, go back and like, if you have thoughts or things that you think, oh my God, all these building blocks to what you believe make up this evil agenda, this evil person. It's like, just question them. Question the building blocks. Because every time I get into a phone call with somebody, I'll tell you what happens. I'll talk more specifics later. This is what happens. I've gotten on phone calls with many, many people. And there's one of two scenarios. Either one, there's like 5, 6, 7 different rumors and lies that I clear up in like 1 minute, that I go, wait, what? That's not true. Here's screenshots, here's evidence, here's this, here's that. And they go, oh my God, I got lied to. Or, oh my God, I didn't know that. Or the second scenario is that whatever they're talking about publicly, I push them on it. They don't know, they don't have anything. They say nothing. And then they go, oh yeah, I mean, I may be exaggerating a little bit on like that, but I still don't like you for these other reasons. It's like, well, okay, then don't like me for those reasons. Don't make people think that you don't like me for these other horrible, nefarious, terrible reasons, or, whatever. Literally, those are the only two scenarios. I've never had a call that ended any other way than those. And I'll talk more about that later. But yeah. Anyway, so to me, it's like, yeah, it's aggravating. It's aggravating.
That because you're having a friendship falling out is weird as hell. It's weird as hell.
Yeah, this like didn't happen.
Because obviously you're not friends anymore because of all this shit that's happened. Why would you message someone's mom? That's my personal right. I don't like it.
And again, just to say, like, again, for Tubbo, genuine answer to that. I think I explained it earlier, but here's the concise answer. Tommy's mom has a Twitter account. She's involved in the community. People know it's Tommy's mom. She was interacting with Dream fans and stans. She was in arguments with, like, I think she had like 5, 6, 7 tweets back and forth with different fans. She was talking about Tommy's video, and saying, her opinion on whether or not Tommy's video was okay, or, ableist or whatever. I DM'd her. I let her know my personal opinion on it, and let her know that I didn't like people attacking her. and no DMs after that. That's literally what happened. And I showed the DM earlier, but that's just what happened. So it's not what you're saying, the context to it, and like how you're saying it's just not true. It's not true. You said I got her phone number. You said that I did it like as a manipulative tactic towards Tommy. It's like that just didn't happen.
People betray the trust of my closest friends. I'm loyal to a fault. All right.
Okay, I need to pull up the.
That is so. It's just and that's one of like many weird things. One of many weird things. I have my own reasons for having a problem with Tommy going around. Being the internet police. Dude, I don't think Tommy's being the internet police. I think he's just slinging shit at people that do shitty things. And also, he has a podcast and a platform to make money to talk about it, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I don't know what else he says
that
here.
Lies about me constly. That's crazy.
So listen to what Tubbo says here.
And
just listen to this. This is like such an interesting like. Just listen to this.
Tommy that lies about me constantly. That's okay. I understand that a little bit. Dream has the public perception that he's put all of the grooming allegations to a bed in a massive document, in a massive video, which is 40 minute in like a 40-minute video called The Truth. Okay, you can go watch it. When it came out, like, however, whether people choose to believe that video or not is crazy. Because also,
but even also, it's ridiculous. Like when he says that, guys. Okay, for those of you that are watching and don't know this, that's not a matter. There's not a matter of opinion there. There's not a matter of opinion. The people that made the allegations came out and said that they lied. It's not a matter of opinion anymore. That happened. I made my video and then that happened afterwards. People came out after the fact. That's not a matter of opinion. That's a matter of fact. It's also a matter of fact that my video is full of documentation, evidence, screenshots, whatever, which is why that ended up happening. Literally, my video has multiple phone call conversations with the police. My video has legal records and search history on it. My thing has every single DM that I ever sent with the person that was accusing me, so on and so forth. My video is chock full of all of the evidence, but it's a factual thing. So even in the way Tubbo's wording it, I think that if Tubbo had any doubt that I was guilty, that he would not be saying things the way that he is. He's saying things the way that he is because he knows that I proved myself innocent. I cleared up the allegations, but his audience is part of an audience, which part of his audience, some of his audience, not all of Tubbo's audience, but some of Tubbo's audience and a lot of Tommy's audience are still of the opinion that we don't care about the evidence. We're still going to call him a pedophile. And so Tubbo is dancing around with the fact that he doesn't want to upset his audience. And that's, you know what? Like, I understand he's in an awkward position, but it's not fair to me. It's really not. And he does obviously express multiple times, like, which, I'll play some, but he says like, I don't like when people accuse them of joke about them being pedophiles because you need evidence and so on and so forth. But he just read that I'm saying, Tommy going around, lying constantly about me. And then he goes, yeah, I get what Dream's saying. Because yeah, Tommy does make it seem like he's a pedophile, essentially. I'm like, okay, well then obviously you would understand why I don't like Tommy. Like,
I strongly believe Dream has enough money to genuinely make any.
And this is just another. I talked about this earlier, but that's just like it's such a.
I don't think he's actually.
It's that take is just so destructive.
Oh, little TommyInnit, which also I think also plays into now Dream downplaying who Tommy is as an adult and making him feel inferior. Also ties all the way back to when he was so relentlessly taking credit for the people that he helped around him success.
So how is that? That's also interesting. I'll mention here. It's like Tubbo says that. He says, so relentlessly taking credit. Tubbo, I know you're going to react to this, or at least you'll have opinions on this. Right in this moment, other than the one philza tweet, other than that, give me a singular piece of evidence. A DM, a live stream, a video, a tweet, anything, a singular piece of evidence where I even allude to the fact that I made someone's career or took credit for their career. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. And you know how I know it doesn't exist? Because I didn't do that. That one comment chain that everyone, obviously multiple people, talk about is the only time that they can even talk. And, also like, obviously I called with Jack after, you know, his podcast where he said like every time he takes credit for people, he, you know, he sees red or, you know, whatever. Right. And I asked him, I called him and I said, hey, I want to talk about this because I don't know I just genuinely don't know what you're talking about. And I want to know kind of what you're talking about. And I asked him, I said, you know, you're saying that I relentlessly, essentially what Tubbo's saying right now, it's like, you're saying I relentlessly like take credit for people. Like what, I don't know, where did I do that? Or like, I don't, obviously, like, I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just like, I don't want to do that. And I don't want people to feel like that. So even if it's something that I did or said that like made you feel like that, even if I didn't intend that, like, what is it? Right. And Jack's reply, was, that, he was like 99% just talking about the one tweet thread that everyone knows about and is public and everyone has, you know, talked about. And then said, he's like, I don't know. Yeah, there was one time like in, you know, when I first joined the SMP where like we were in a private call with you and George and Nick and like, you and George were joking and you made a joke to George about having made him his career or something like that. And I'm sitting here like, you're joking, right? Like this is a joke. Like actually, this is a joke. Like I'm like, okay, what? Wait, that's it? Like that's it? You know, no, I don't have any other examples. But it's like that's it. That's the example. The example is that like allegedly, apparently, literally my best friend that I live with, I made a joking call I made a joke in a private Discord. I'm like, all right, I mean, I guess I don't remember that, but I guess if I did that, then I guess I shouldn't have made that joke around you, maybe, like, because obviously I don't want you to feel like, I wouldn't want Jack feeling like, oh, he actually thinks that, because like, me and George don't even like joke about that, and I asked George as well after this call. I said, George, do you remember that? And he's like, no, I don't remember that. So obviously like something that George isn't upset about, that wasn't obviously done in a negative way. We literally work together every day and live together, and Jack's like saying that every time I do this thing and I do this horrible like taking credit thing all the time, like it's like there's no examples of it, like, and I understand, like they're not trying to, like, I don't think Jack's trying to be a liar, and I don't think that Tubbo's trying to be like a liar. I just think that they like, you know, they have like that one interaction and then obviously they look at that negative, that tweet thread and go, oh my God, you know, which by the way, I've never had any conversation with any of them about, so they don't know they've never heard, they don't know any of my context. They're just like making assumptions. And then go, oh, he must do it all the time. Like he obviously, that's what he thinks. He must think, you know, this one time we had this tweet thread with Tommy, therefore he thinks he's better than everyone else. And it's like, guys, please, Tubbo, you just said that I relentlessly take credit for everyone. I can go give tons of examples of me doing the exact opposite, including to you, because I remember there was a tweet on Twitter where somebody replied to Tubbo and said like, Dream made you. And then Tubbo replied to that person and said, yeah, I'm really thankful for everything he's done for me. And then I replied to Tubbo and said, Tubbo, no, I did not fucking make you. I don't remember exactly what I said. I'm sure you guys can find the tweet, but I said, Tubbo, I did not make you. You made yourself. You're incredibly talented, blah, blah. I wouldn't have added you to the server. So I can, off the top of my head, name multiple instances where I did the exact opposite and even fought off people and argued with people that did that. But I can't, there's no instance of me doing that because I don't think that. And two, I didn't ever say that or even privately, anything. That was not an opinion of mine that I had or one that was shared. I said earlier on the stream, but I don't take credit for any of their, anyone's success on or after, during, or before the Dream SMP. Like the only thing I did was point a spotlight at people saying, hey, these guys are talented. These guys are fun. And we did live streams together and that's it. So I don't know, like that, it's just that like, it makes me see red, guys. I see red because I'm just like, where's that come from? Like what is the reasoning behind it?
Which is just another thing. It's another cut of the death of 1,000 cuts, man.
And they say this a lot, like another cut of the death of 1,000 cuts. And I really think that there's realistically like, I don't know, 30 cuts or something. And of the 30 cuts, like half of them are like made up. And then of the other 15 cuts, 10 of them are things that, the public already knows about. And so it's like, but they are acted like it's not. And then the other 5 cuts are things that are just like misunderstandings where no one wants to, like no one talks behind the scenes. So they don't want to, whatever. I'll give a good example. So, I had a call with Tubbo, and in that call, he revealed something that I had done. Wait, is that it? No. Guys, he made a revelation. He said, Dream. I said, why do you not like me, Tubbo? This was 6 months ago or something. He said, Dream, I don't like you because you banned Aimsey from the Dream SMP Discord when she asked you about the pedophile allegations. You didn't reply to her, and you banned her. I said, Tubbo, I didn't do that. He goes, you didn't? I go, no, I didn't. How'd you hear that? He goes, well, I heard from Aimsey. I go, well, that's just not what happened, right? Like I didn't do that. It's like, one, that's stupid. And two, I had many text conversations with Aimsey about it, and we talked about it on text about the allegations, and I talked to anybody about it. And I didn't, obviously that would make me look really guilty if I did that, but I didn't do that, Tubbo. I promise. And he goes, Dream, do you have any evidence that you didn't do this? I go, no. I can look. Let me look in the Discord. I'm gonna go to the Discord. I'll get the logs. I get the logs. Tubbo, the Discord logs. They're not there. There's no logs. And he goes, Dream, why'd you delete the logs? This is real, guys. This is actually what happened. Okay, realistically, this is what happened. Okay, this is like a recreation, but this is word for word essentially what happened. I'm gonna continue. Dream, why'd you delete the logs? Why'd you delete the Discord logs? It's very mighty suspicious that the Discord logs would be deleted. I said, Tubbo, I didn't delete them. Maybe somebody else did. I don't know. They're just gone. There's no Discord logs. I go and look in the logs, and I look at them, and I go, yeah, here they are. There's nothing there. And he goes, well, Dream, I don't know if I can believe you because there's no Discord logs. I said, and I Googled it, and I go, Tubbo, the logs are automatically deleted. Here's where it says Discord automatically deletes them. Why don't you just ask Aimsey? And then he asked Aimsey, and she said, yeah, I didn't do that. So what the fuck? What the fuck am I supposed to do? Like, Jesus Christ. It's just like this like fucking ridiculous, like, I don't know. And then later, it's like so ridiculous because then later, like, oh my God, like, okay, so then let me start up again. So then later, obviously when all this stuff is happening, and then like all the George stuff happens, right? And I'm thinking in my mind when that first happens, I'm like, oh my God, it's fucking Aimsey. It's fucking Aimsey. She started this all. She lied about me banning her from the Discord. She lied about the everything. She lied about it. She lied about the Discord. She's like talking to fucking Katie Bugs and them and whatever. Like, and this is it's all the Aimsey's like master plan, and she's doing all of this, right? And so in a Reddit post, I didn't say her name, but I said, like, I think there's somebody going around spreading rumors, and they said I banned someone from the Discord, whatever, right? And then Aimsey DM'd me and said, hey, I didn't do that. It was a misunderstanding. My point is that it can happen on both sides. Like, this isn't just a them sometimes doing it, but like I have done it sometimes where like I have made assumptions off of something. But also I think my assumptions are slightly more valid in a way. I'm like, yeah, okay, well this, like they're like, they just believe off the cuff that that like I'm this. Also, it just shows what they think of me as a person, obviously, because they're just like, Tubbo's like, yeah, I mean, it sounds like something Dream would do. Just he got asked about the allegations and just fucking banned him. It's like, no, that's just not. That's not what happened. But let me see. I forgot our conversation. I'm not gonna show any screenshots, but yeah, and then obviously Tubbo never came back to me and said like, hey, I talked to Aimsey and she said that she didn't do it or whatever. So I for a long time thought that it was Aimsey that had lied about it. I'd intentionally lied about it or something, but obviously she didn't. She just, it was a misunderstanding. She didn't lie about it. According to what Aimsey said, she said that she doesn't know where it's coming from at all. That like, that she wasn't banned by any means. And yeah, and I mean, obviously she wasn't, because Aimsey messaged me when she left, which I told Tubbo. I was like, Aimsey, I was like during this conversation where Tubbo was like again, I'm like partially making fun of you, Tubbo, but like I'm not. I'm just making fun of the situation. It's kind of funny. I'm under interrogation, and he's like, well, Dream, what evidence do you have that you didn't do this horrible thing? I go, well, Tubbo, here's a screenshot of Aimsey telling me, hey, I'm leaving the Discord. Okay, anyway, that's like a recreation of, and a lot of these phone calls where I have with people go like this. Like this is how that's how they go. It's like, Dream, you did this horrible, disgusting, no good thing, didn't you? Didn't you do it? I go like, well, no. Like, where did you hear about that? I didn't do it. And they go, well, it's been baking. I've heard it from many people. Well, who did you, like, I want to like clear it up. Well, like everybody knows. They all know you did this thing. I go, can I have any more information? No, we can't give you any more information. Unfortunately, nothing. But what about, is there like evidence or no evidence? Nothing. Not one bit. Well, then why do you believe it? I do. Because of all these other things that you did. But I didn't do any of those other. No, you did. No, but I did. You did. No, I promise you. No, you did. The evidence is out there. Where? Out there somewhere. Someone has it clearly because they're saying it. It's like, it's frustrating. It's frustrating because it's like evidence based on evidence based on evidence. Like, it's like, well, this person said it, therefore that's my source, and then my source is a different source, and then a different source, and a different source, and whatever. And it's like, okay, all right, whatever. Anyway, let's continue with what, let's see what he was saying here.
So, as expecting, I'm going to get a lot of shit. But obviously, I had no intentions at attacking every DreamSmp fan. You see, that's fair. That's fair. He can see he fucked up because he knows his audience is also almost entirely at one point DreamSmp fans because it was his fucking.
So, I mean, that's not true. I'm not going to harp on it too long, but I mean, I didn't stream a single time on the DreamSmp. I only made one video ever on it, and it was a charity video, and it was on my second channel, not my main channel. I think like of a portion of my audience is maybe like, I don't know, 1%, maybe less of my audience on YouTube and elsewhere is from DreamSmp. I think that on Twitch and on Twitter that, yeah, the majority of my audience probably is from DreamSmp. But even then, it's still maybe a barely majority because I had a lot of other stuff that I was up to, and I didn't stream the DreamSmp. So I did speedrunning, I did events, I did MCC, I did so on and so forth. But anyway, that's not too important, but still, I think it's good to mention because that's not why I just don't want the DreamSmp fans that are, you know, that look fondly back on the DreamSmp to think that I think that they're all cringe. Like, obviously I don't think that. And based on my expressions in the past, I don't think that. I just think that certain people that still have the same behavior that they had when they were kids and, or when they, you know, just were massively in love and there was, you know, with that DreamSmp and there was COVID, that still have those same tendencies, say you, I think that they are cringe. And I just think that it happens that a lot of them have accumulated in one particular place. That's it. No offense. I mean, offense, I guess, but no offense.
Server. And he effectively did insult them. You know what I mean?
I want to say, I don't know what else he says here.
For being ableist, Lamau. Why is the Lamau there? I don't understand why dude, you just don't believe a word of what you're writing, man. I would doubt this is even written by him. I bet it's written by someone.
That's also something I get a lot. It's like ridiculous. Like, I doubt this is written by him. This is written by like a PR team. It's like, no, it's not, it's like my Reddit account. Like I guess how do I improve that? Like, it's like, it's because it's part of their image. They're like, it's like I watched as an example, it was just so funny because like I watched like, I think Pyrocynical, which no hate to Pyro, but I watched like Pyrocynical's reaction to my The Truth video, and in his reaction he said multiple times throughout the video, he's like he's like almost mad that I'm like proving things wrong, and he's like both times right, he's like, yeah, and his PR team did a real good job on this one, a real good job. Yeah, they did a great job. They need to be paid extra for this one. I'm sitting there like, what? Like, just say bro's clearing his name, first of all. And second of all, for those curious, like that video I wrote myself. I didn't have a single other contributor for the writing of that video. The editing, I had some help for scenes because like one, it was a massive video, but the video myself, I literally scripted up and wrote the entire thing by myself with zero input from any PR people. I sent the video when it was done to a couple people beforehand just to make sure that I wasn't doing something like stupid or missing something completely. Many, I don't know, 5-10 people to have them like watch it to give me opinions. But that's it. So it's like, I have this big PR team is like, it's just another lie to try and like, and I don't think Tubbo, again, Tubbo's not doing this, but it's like, it's a lie that's been built up to say like, oh, Dream, you know, I don't know, like Dream, here's all these, you know, like Tubbo said, like the 1,000 cuts or whatever. Here's like one of these 1,000 cuts. Like Dream has a massive PR team that like makes him look the best they possibly can. That's like one thing. And it's like he has NDAs with everybody on the SMP. It's like another thing. Well, there's both lies. He has, I don't know, he like sues everybody. It's like, that's also a lie. Like I've sent one legal I've sent one legal letter to anybody, and it's a public knowledge that I did that, and it's in my video. I've never, outside of that, threatened anybody, like legally, or sent legal letters to anybody. Like obviously, like my merch or something maybe has like for on that regard, but that's like totally different to me. It's like a different company. So I think like that's like there's many lies like that build up to this image of me where it's like, yeah, and then he did this and he has this and he has that, and it's like just none of these things are true. So they're all like the baseline to why I'm this evil person, and just none of it's true. There are things that I've done that are bad. There are things that I've done that I regret. There are things that I've done that you cannot like or be like, yeah, that was not the smartest. But like the whole like evil narrative is based on things that aren't true, and most people like Tubbo, in my personal opinion, the things that, you know, I've done that are wrong or that I've learned from or grown from or, you know, whatever, those are things that that like him in another world would forgive me for, or would be perfectly fine with, or in the past did forgive me for, or was perfectly fine with being friends with me for, because he realizes that everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Everyone says things they regret. Everybody has things they said when they were kids or stupid things that they regret. Everyone has moments where they, you know, blow up or they say something mean or, you know, whatever. Everyone has those moments. And so it's frustrating to know like that so many friendships and stuff have been affected by a whole pile of lies. Like, and I think partially, honestly, this sounds ridiculous. It's partially because I played the villain on the Dream SMP. Like partially that's why, because everyone like has this like, oh, Dream hurt all our favorite characters. It's like, even if it's in the back of their head and they don't realize that's why, it's like, they're like, yeah, Dream's this evil manipulative guy that did all these things. Like, well, like, guys, that was a character. But anyway,
fucking else, bro. It was a dig at Tommy fans because somehow the worst of the extra MP message fans all congregated to make up lies and shit on other creators. Look, man, I will say the Inniters are.
Oh, I'm not showing it.
I have so many of Tom's viewers come in my chat every day and ask where the fuck he is and what he's doing. They're annoying, and they don't like you because Tom doesn't like you.
Well, they didn't like me.
The shitty things you've done.
Okay, that's the biggest thing I disagree on right there, or one of the biggest things. He said essentially, Tommy's fans don't like you because Tommy doesn't like you because of the shitty things you've done. Tommy's fans didn't like me before Tommy and I weren't friends. Tommy's fans hated me before that. Literally, Tommy messaged me like, okay, that's why I don't like the whole, it's disingenuous about the allegations thing, because obviously the allegations happened. Tommy and I were friends for a very long time after that. I kind of broke off our friendship at a certain point because I was upset with Tommy. We kind of were still friendly, but we weren't like good friends anymore. We didn't call anymore for YouTube from like, I don't know, up until, you know, even leading up to the USMP stuff. And then he started doing live shows, and he had a couple times, because this was before I addressed the allegations, he had a couple times where people yelled out like Dream's a pedo or Dream's a nonce, or whenever he was like talking about me. And he texted me about that and said like, hey, this sucks. Like, I don't want, I love you, man. I support you. I want to be there for you. But like, I can't have, if people think that, essentially, if people think this about you, I can't publicly do things with you. Right. Like almost word for word. I, of course, was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I'm sorry, Tommy. I wish this wasn't how it is. I'm doing my best. I'm trying to, I want to make a response. And obviously there was, there was reasons why certain things, didn't happen at the time. But anyway, so that obviously was conversations that me and Tommy had, and I don't fault Tommy for that, but it's not the other way around, Tubbo. It's not that, oh, Tommy's fans don't like me because of Tommy. No, a lot of the worst Dream fans that became Dream haters or that were just Dream haters congregated around Tommy. Some of them because of the Dream SMP, some of them because of me playing a villain, some of them because of things that I did that they just didn't like. But then they were like, oh, well, now I want him to not, because he did this thing I don't like, he's a terrible person. He needs to, be in jail or, whatever. And so it was the other way around. It didn't happen the opposite way. And like I saw people like shocked yesterday, like the other day being like, why is Dream tweeting this? I thought they were friends, like Tommy fans. Because most people don't know that we're not friends. Because we, I was fairly quiet about everything. And then even when Tommy has always, it's funny because Tommy has always made negative jokes about me, even when we were friends. So like people can't really tell the difference, which is kind of sad.
And also, they are also individuals, and they can form their own opinions based on whether they believe your grooming allegations debunking video or not, or whether
what does that even mean though? It's not a matter
justified and like needless shitting.
Like it's not a matter of belief. It's like there's no way Tubbo thinks that. Like it's not a people that are harping on it, like saying I'm a pedo or something. Like they're not. It's not a matter of them not believing something. They're just they've either not done the research or they are intentionally spreading misinformation. It's one or the other. There's not a believing in this situation.
On Quackity for his SMP, or they can also form their own opinion on you. Basically, like I don't get it, man. There's just so many different things. Like there's so many. The wider audience that isn't your core group has so many different reasons or like gripes or different bones to pick that like it's too many to list, and I can't even get my head around how many things there could be.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like, I think that a lot of it I addressed in my The Truth video that if people didn't watch, they wouldn't know about, whether it be like Manitreed or it's talking about like my face leak or or even like my comments on like doxing or whatever. I think that video is a good job at going through a lot of the biggest critiques people have had for me. Obviously, that doesn't mean that there's not things people have. There's obviously critiques people have had about me, about things I've said or clips from before I did YouTube or whatever where they have problems with. And like that's fair. I don't think that's I think that's fair. If you don't like someone or don't want to watch or don't feel comfortable supporting someone's content because of that or whatever, it's like that's fine. But just if you're honest about that, then it's fine. But most people aren't honest about that.
Out here is crazy. I would argue whether you have an autism diagnosis or not, about that group being like he's a pedophile, about SMP Manifold
like listen to this,
make up lies and shit about other creators. Like, okay, I get why he might be mad about the lies, like about lies again. I don't know. About
like what?
That group being like he's a pedophile all the time, which again,
what? Like that's glossed over. What does that mean? Yes, I'm gonna be mad about the lies from your friend group about me being a pedophile. What do you mean? What like that actually, like Tubbo's not trying to be, again, I think Tubbo's just trying to help like be fair to his friends and like be positive to his friends, but like can we please just listen to this and acknowledge what he's saying?
About other creators. Like, okay, I get why he might be mad about the lies.
I get why he might be mad about the lies.
Like, about, I don't like lies. Again, I don't know. About that group being like, he's a pedophile all the time, which again, I don't.
Like, yes, please, I would hope you get it. I would hope it's understandable. Hey, I spend a lot of time and effort and everything to clear my name and to try and put that behind me. And you're perpetuating a false narrative. He's like, yeah, I get it, but like, come on, like there's no but there. That's terrible. There's no but. It's terrible.
I don't like. I think.
And like I think Tubbo's saying that is incredibly honest, and I think that is. I'm glad that he like put that out there because that's clearly his thoughts. That's what he's thinking. But I just think that's like that almost needs like self-reflection in a way where it's like, yeah, that's horrible. Tubbo, imagine. I know Tubbo had one like false allegation pop up and he was on stream and it like freaked him out and it was terrible. Imagine that still to this day, just because my fans don't like you or because some fan group doesn't like you, even if they have the most valid reasons in the world to not like you, imagine they're sitting there bringing that up and lying about it and then if they're confronted about it, they'd say, I don't care. I'm going to say it anyway. Like that. Yeah. And then it's very easy to understand.
Joke about people being pedophiles unless we actually know for sure, because dude, why?
Tubbo saying this is amazing. Why? Thank you, Tubbo. I really appreciate you saying this.
Like,
this is true. It's the truth,
man. It kind of it feels watering down.
It's very serious, and you can't. You need to have evidence for claims like that or things that you're saying like that, or you can't like hate me for whatever you want if it's true. That's fine. I don't care if you hate me because I don't know, because I live in Florida. I'm a Florida guy. Like I don't care if you hate me because of that. I don't care if you there's valid reasons to hate me and there's invalid or like less valid reasons to hate me, but you can hate somebody for whatever reason you want. Like someone could just, you just don't like their vibes. Like that's totally valid.
Like And I can understand why Dream would be frustrated if he sees an entire community calling him a pedophile. What I don't understand is why he wouldn't talk about that when the repeated public shots of that lot of my friend group calling him a pedophile come out.
Yeah, so I think that is the most valid thing that that Tubbo has. That's the most valid critique that Tubbo said. He's basically saying, why did you say something now and not the other times that they were like lying about you being a pedophile? And honestly, my honest answer is that I don't want to bring up or bring attention to the like false pedophile allegations that could have ruined my career, that I already put under the bridge, already put out under. So obviously, yeah, the time when there's a public beef that I can finally let a vent out into or whatever that isn't surrounding lies about me. Sure, I'll take that opportunity, but I'm not going to directly reply to somebody. Whereas I did DM them, like, okay, Harry says something, I DM him and say, whatever, or you probably messaged him. Jack said something, I DM'd him. So I handled those things privately because I'm like, hey, yeah, this is bad that you're doing this. I don't want this to happen here. Let's talk about it. But me publicly bringing attention to it, like, hey, here's a guy that, for some reason is false, lying about me and implying I'm a pedophile or, whatever, even though it's 100% not true. Let me just bring attention to that. Let me shine a spotlight on that. It's like, no, I'd rather DM that person privately, say, hey, take that shit down. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? And deal with that privately, which is what I did. But for, something else, like if I'm just expressing frustration, then I'll be more public about it. It's fine. Cool.
Why would he not bring it up?
So I think that makes sense.
Why would he wait until there's beef with XQC? Like, I don't...
And I did bring it up, just not public. Like I brought it up privately, but it obviously didn't change anything. But.
I don't understand a straw that broke the camel's back type action. If you hear what I'm saying. Maybe a straw that broke the camel's back. Like, this was the last straw. Like, fuck! He insulted XQC! Fuck! Now I'm finally going to stand up for myself and say I'm not a pedophile.
The way he says that is so funny.
Yeah, and Tommy feeds right into it to promote his Patreon. Guys, I'm going to be honest. I feel like... yeah, he makes money from the Patreon.
And he's gonna say it's not a money thing because Tommy's rich, blah blah. It's like, yeah, okay. I'm making that critique because to promote whatever he has going on. To it's not a money thing. I wasn't even saying it's a money thing. I'm saying it to promote his stuff. I didn't mean from a money perspective. I didn't mean like, oh, so we can make more money on it. Like I literally just meant he's using it to get more attention, views, and whatever because he does care about those things, and he's said that publicly. He said many times how obsessed he is with his views and how his mental health. He had problems with it because his views declined and so on and so forth. It's like that's like terrible. Like, I mean, that sucks. I don't want that. But he's also said that in the past. We're also implying that like he's come to terms with it now, that he doesn't feel that way or act that way, while still letting all of his decisions and the things he does publicly, even if it involves lies, allegations, throwing people under the bus, whatever, he doesn't, if it's going to potentially benefit him with more views or whatever, he'll do it. And so I think I don't like that. And again, I'm also seeing from a very negative perspective because there's no communication. So a lot of these things are things where like, yeah, Tommy could be pissed off seeing this stream and be like, oh my God, he's like, that's not how I am. And whatever. It's like, Tommy, all I know is what you show me. And it's just kind of the same thing, for me to you, obviously. But I have been trying my best to make an effort to figure out the other side where none of you guys have. I've been sending messages. I've been working behind the scenes. I've been having phone calls. I've been, avoiding confrontation and tweets and whatever, whereas everyone else hasn't. And so it's like I feel like it's way more, I don't know, it's way more fair on my part to have this conversation like this than it would be for the other way around. But anyway, what's
but also,
next?
I feel like Tom's just slinging shit, man, because he's just like, low-key, he's put up with a lot of bullshit from a lot of people
I'm sure Tommy has. Like, I'm sure Tommy has put up with a lot of stuff. I think there's a lot of things that I know about and things that I'm sure I don't know about that he's like put up with. And I do like feel bad for that. But anyway, I'm pulling up a different clip real quick. If you guys want to tweet at me anything that you would like me that we're not nearing the end, but we're nearing a couple things I want to talk about, and then maybe the end after that. And so if there's anything that I totally missed or that you want to hear me,
XQC mentioned him briefly.
So yeah, I want to show. So you can tweet at me. I don't know how else. I guess I can pull up my Twitter, so if in case I see anything that's interesting that I'd want to reply to. Anyway,
in the tweet, but no one was going for him. He wasn't, you know, like there's no excusable way of him ever saying that word. But maybe if we'd beat him into a corner and we'd been after him for weeks, and in an angry fit of rage because we've just bullied him for weeks, he said that, albeit it'd still be wrong, but I could at least make some sense of it. I'm not gonna sit here and like shit on him forever. He gave me a great opportunity. I appreciate that, and he's done individual like one-off acts of kindness to me. But I think I've seen him time and time again do like things like that, where it's like he takes ownership.
Not Dream? No! He was the last one I would have thought. And you go in, and then Tubbo's explaining, and she goes, what? George as well?
My forehead that pops up.
And it was when you got really, really angry, really quick.
Oh.
When Phil brought up
No,
Dream.
no.
anyway, I just think that's just kind of funny to point out, because he's like, yeah, I mean, if we had just been relentlessly bullying, and this is just Jack, like, I mean, there's like, obviously this is like an account that literally is made that's called Days Since Jack Mentioned Dream, that just keeps track of every time that Jack mentions me, either in a thumbnail, a title, in a podcast, a tweet, or somewhere else, and then just like resets a counter. That has been going since 2022, I think, or at least 2023. That is this, and that's just Jack. That's not Tommy. That's not any of the other people, any of his friends, any of the people that constantly tweet about me, whatever. And then he's like, yeah, if we were just like bullying the crap out of him constantly, then like, you know, maybe I understand it, but like we weren't. It's like, come on, Jack. But regardless, I don't know if people want to tweet at me good timestamps in his VOD. I have his VOD up, so I don't know anything he said that was good. I didn't honestly go through most of it, but I do want to talk. We can talk about his. We can talk about our phone call, right? So I want to talk about some phone calls. This is going to be an interesting kind of one, right? I want to talk about some conversations, right? That I've had with people. Because I think that it is important. Oops. I think it's important. But let me pull up. I need to pull up a tweet. This is where we get to some a little more juicy stuff, I guess, in a way. But let's look up something. Give me a second. I really want to pull up this tweet, but I can't. I don't know where it is. Maybe I'll talk about it and then I'll do it. So first of all, I would like to talk about a phone call, interestingly enough, that well, I guess let me do a little let me give a little context here. So first of all, everyone obviously there's been a lot of there's been a large rumor mill, right? And so I've done my best to try and go around, talk to people, call people, talk about, what people's issues are, or what they'll imply these things publicly. And so I'll be like, oh, why was that done? Right. Essentially. And then, I had a call, I had calls with, Tubbo, Jack, Harry, Aimsey, and a bunch of other random, commentary YouTubers and TikToks and, whatever, in order to try and figure out what, what the issue is, right? Okay, well, I'm getting alluded publicly that this is, horrible, whatever, right? And then I also had some conversations that I'll just talk about because I'll just put them out there. Not the actual conversations, but I had a conversation with Ludwig, which I'll briefly mention because I do think it's important. I'll just put it out there because it's something that's behind the scenes that apparently has been said. So I'd like to kind of talk about it all. Let me see which soundboard do I have? No, come on. That's a little too much. Nah. Okay, this is good enough. Detective Dream music here. So, of course, on this journey, I reached out to Harry. Yes, AverageHarry. You guys all know him, or you probably don't. But anyway, I reached out to him, right? And we had a phone call on Discord. This was a long time ago, maybe over a year ago at this point. And I said, Harry, man, you made a tweet where you said that I can't be safe around 18-year-old fans because I got one to my room to drink to have sex with. And I said, Harry, that doesn't sound like Dream, right? This is Detective Dream. Detective Dream had this phone call. And I said, Harry, that doesn't sound like the Dream I know. What you have, more information, right? More evidence. All right. And so, we get more into that. We talk about it. Harry provides the information that he has, which essentially is, well, actually, it wasn't about you. It was you were there, and you didn't have sex with the person or try to. And I'm like, Harry, what? You need to delete that tweet then and make a tweet saying that didn't happen. And Harry said, okay. And so then Harry made a tweet where he said, hey, that last tweet I made was, not true. It didn't happen. And I didn't want to imply that Dream did anything like that. And obviously he expressed to me in the phone call that he was just frustrated and he was sticking up and that he couldn't quite give me more information, which obviously some of it was alluding to the Katybug stuff, which ended up happening later, which I obviously wish that back then he had shared more information because I would have been able to, it would have been a lot better. But anyway, that call continued. And I said, all right, now that that's cleared up, Harry, now that you're going to make that tweet, you're going to clear it up. Why do you hate me? Because you said you don't like me. And you've said publicly that you don't like me, that I'm a horrible person, that, I'm manipulative, I'm all these things. You know what Harry said? Wait, it's not working. There we go. No, wait, that's not what I'm looking for. Wait, I'm going to go to the intents. There we go. Harry said, Dream, I don't like you, and I never have. Ever since I made a tweet in 2020 where I critiqued your merch. I compared it. I sped run drawing a smile on a shirt. And you quote retweeted me and gave an example of other brands like Nike that have simple logos. Ever since then, I've hated you, to be honest. I said, Harry, that is a very valid reason to not like me. But is there anything else? Because, you say a lot of really, really bad stuff about me. Like, you imply that I'm a pedophile and all this other stuff, you know? And Harry said, well, I mean, just like you've made some tweets on Twitter and stuff, and like you're, you know, the way you've interact with people on Twitter, you've caused some hate for people and whatever. Okay. That's valid, I guess. Yeah, you can. That's fine. You know, obviously, we can talk about each individual, you know, thing if you want, but I guess but that's why you were like saying I'm like that's why you're saying I'm like a horrible, manipulative, terrible. Yeah, that's why. Okay. So that was my call with Harry, essentially. I mean, he deleted his tweet. Obviously, it was about the Katiebugs hit. I didn't know that. He said that because of this tweet, which I didn't pull up, but guys, please go find it. I promise you it's out there. Apparently, he quote retweeted me. It was like before he was like a content creator, I guess. He was like a small content creator, and he quote retweeted me, and he was upset that I quote retweeted him. He said that he hated me ever since then. That is a direct quote from AverageHarry when I asked him why he didn't like me. Anyway, okay, so I'm moving on. You know, we already went over the call with like Tubbo, right? I think that obviously we talked about Aimsey, you know, we had messages that helped clear up some, you know, misunderstandings that we had, which one of them obviously was that, you know, she had said that, you know, allegedly, according to Tubbo and others, that she had said that I banned her from the Discord when she asked me about the allegations back then, and I said I didn't do that. That just didn't happen. And then she cleared up that, oh, it's just misinformation, that, you know, that she doesn't know how it started, but that it's just like misinformation, right? So that happened. Now, Jack, obviously we had a longer call actually, and I already talked about you know, some of it earlier. But with Jack, I went into the call being like, I went into the call thinking like, all right, okay. All right, this is the start. We're gonna clear up the misinformation. Every time I've talked to somebody, we clear it up. It's fine. You know, like they will stop shitting on me publicly every day, and I can live in peace without lies being spread about me. Right? This is my thought. I'm like, yes, all right, sweet. So I go in being very, very hopeful, and thinking like, all right, sweet, we're gonna do this. Now, honestly, Jack, respectful guy. It was a very respectful phone call. I honestly think that it changed my opinion a little bit on him, because I did have some negative perceptions. But you know, I left the call being like, wow, this guy was an intelligent guy. You know, he even if I disagree with some things he said, he articulated everything he said, you know, his points very well. He has more, you know, valid reasons of holding the opinions that he has. Maybe not to the extent of like hating me. And of course, Jack even said that. Jack said, Dream, I don't hate you. And I felt butterflies in my stomach, honestly. And he said, Dream, I don't hate you. That I, you know, it was a strong word. Hate's a strong word. I don't like some of the things that you've done in the past, but I don't hate you. I don't. And I was happy to hear that. You know, it was a great thing to hear. But he didn't like a lot of the things that I'd done. Now, of course, I asked him about, you know, particularly us. Of course, Jack had more valid concerns, you know, surrounding, you know, whether it be George or Sapnap or me. But the thing that was the most interesting to me was that it was all formed based on public information. Public information. So all of the things that were talked about, everything that we discussed, the problems that he, you know, had, whether it be with me or with George or with whoever, he was informed and expressing them based on information that you guys have. You have the information. So obviously one of the things that, you know, he expressed to me in, you know, private was, I still think that you could have handled yourself better, you know, in your, you know, fan interactions, and that, you know, even though, you know, the truth clears up, you know, like pedophile accusations, that like I still think you're irresponsible with your audience, and those things. I'm like, okay, people can have concerns. Not everyone's going to walk away from the, you know, from my video feeling exactly the same, or, you know, walk away from mistakes I've made or whatever feeling exactly the same. But at least it's good to know that, okay, so it's just disagreements. Obviously we talked about certain things that I think that he misunderstood from my video, or certain things that, you know, certain topics that I just disagreed with him on. But at the end of the day, he had a solid foundation for kind of why he didn't like me. Outside of, obviously, we didn't talk about any of the Tommy stuff. We didn't talk about any of the stuff I talked about in here, whatever. But he just had a more solid foundation of why. And of course, he also expressed some, there's some rumors, whatever. And I tried to get into them, whatever. Now, there's rumors behind the scenes about everybody. By everybody, I mean everybody. Okay? Everybody. There's rumors about Tommy. There's rumors about Jack. There's rumors about Rambo. There's rumors about Tubbo. There's rumors about Skeppy. There's a whole lot of rumors. But the most normal response to when somebody hears rumors is either one, ignoring them because you don't have evidence behind them. Two, looking into them, like reaching out to the person, or whatever. And then, or three, either you ignore them or you reach out to the person. And the third option, which is what they choose to take, which is the unoriginal one, is let's just talk about it publicly like it's a fact. That is what happens, right? So this is where it gets a little controversial. Because my rumors are out there, guys. There's been rumors left and right. All the content creators like spreading, whether it be private business or false allegations or just, I don't know, not talking to me for some reason. So, this is Detective Dream, okay? So let's role play for a minute. All right, I want a better song. What's a better song? Oh. Come on, I need a better song. I'm ruining the moment. Does this get better? I don't know if this gets better. All right. Guys, I mentioned something to Tommy a very long time ago. It's actually interesting. So, a very long time ago, there was a situation, which I'll try and be vague on the details for because I do not want to spark anything for this person because they were false. These allegations that were made were false. But I would like to shed light on the handling of how it was handled. So, there was rumors behind the scenes about a particular Dream SMP creator, which I will not name because they were false, and I do not want to bring anyone's name into allegation talk, but it was none of my friends. It was no one that I'm close to at all. It was just a member of the Dream SMP. And these rumors spread pretty far because Tommy was going around and telling people that this person was a pedophile behind the scenes. Until Wilbur, who, obviously you speak of Wilbur now, but Wilbur back then got told by Tommy. And Wilbur said, hey, have you looked into this? Have you talked to him about it? This isn't me. It's not any of my friends. And Tommy said, no. And Wilbur said, okay, well, all right, well, we need to go talk to Dream about it so Dream can look into it because it's his server and he doesn't want anybody like that on it. Right? So, of course, they get in a call and Tommy's forced to tell me. And I go, oh my God, okay, I'll go look into it, right? I go look into it. I don't know, about 30 minutes later, the creator I'm talking to clears it up. The information was completely false. It was just, rumors spread behind the scenes, whatever. And we were able to confirm, trust me, you just have to take my word for it. It was completely confirmed, 100% they were false. It was, again, it won't involve any names, but the creator, the girl that was involved was not underage, was not a fan. It was creators on creators, whatever. It was like private business that no one had any, and no one was underage. So anyways, that happened. So it's not just, this isn't just a problem that has happened only with me. This is something that is an inherent problem that some creators have, is spreading rumors without them being true or confirming that they're true. Now, I've heard many things, okay? And I brought this up to Jack because Jack said, hey, I don't want to, like, hey, and he said, hey, there's also rumors. And I said, well, I've heard rumors. And, he brought up like rumors about, Nick and rumors about George and, whatever. And I go, well, Jack, I've heard rumors about you too, right? And I bring up a rumor that for Jack's sake, I guess, and for others' sake, I guess I will be very vague on, but there was a rumor that Jack, not a very faithful man. And that was something that I was like, hey, Jack, I heard this rumor. You know what I haven't done? I haven't gone publicly until now and said it and gone, hey, guys, what a dickhead Jack is, because he's a cheater, right? No, I didn't. That's not what happened. And even behind the scenes, it's something that has been brought up before, but it's always, you don't know, where the sources are on, whatever, right? And Jack said, no, that's not true. It's not true. I can prove it's not true. It's not true. I said, okay. Cool. Do you see how interactions with rumors should generally be handled? You seek out evidence or you don't bring it up. Now, I won't say Jack didn't provide me with any evidence. He just said, I have evidence. I didn't see anything, but I'm still going to take Jack at his word for it, mostly, just because I don't have much evidence. I have, word, but that's it. So, now, Tubbo, there's been rumors about you. There's been rumors about you, Tubbo. Now, I'm going to role play like I'm one of your friends about your rumors, okay? I'm not sure if I can say why, guys, but really, Tubbo, not a good dude. I can't give you any evidence as to why. But I've heard behind the scenes rumors that don't make him look very good. All right. And we just leave. We just leave it at that. And then if Tubbo messages me and says, Dream, what are those rumors that you heard? I'll say, I can't tell you, Tubbo. I can't tell you. I'm sorry. It's private. So I can't share it with you, because that's what has happened. And then now there's a smear and everyone talks about it and blah, blah, blah. For the record, Tubbo doesn't have any bad, terrible, horrible things. And if he did, then I would ask him about them and figure them out privately. The only thing that I've heard about Tubbo that, is, rumors is about, private things that don't need to be public. So I won't make them public. Unlike people have done to me. I will spare people from having their private business shared. Now, I think that it's important to talk about all of that conversation because of how rumors can spread and how they can be extremely harmful, especially when you already have a built up opinion. Now I'm going to go ahead and give, I'm going to talk about the only other behind the scenes rumor that I know of that I had any kind of, knowledge of, that I'm only bringing it up to put it out there, because I don't know any of the details, and I honestly, nobody could talk to me, whatever. But there was, when I DM'd Ludwig after, the truth video went up, and I asked him hey, are you making, I think you should make a video about this. You made a video, or I don't know if I remember before, but I don't think he did actually. But I was I think it'd be really beneficial. I want to clear my name, whatever. And he, alluded to the fact that hey, I don't want to, again, I'm not going to share any of our private messages exactly, but I think that this is important. He alluded to the fact the community is, still figuring this out. Are still conflicted about it. So I don't want to make a video. And I was I don't like that, but whatever. But he said that he still essentially had potentially a negative view of me, and I was well, why? What's the problem? I like Ludwig. I think Ludwig's content's great. I think Ludwig's a great guy. I think that he's done a lot of awesome stuff. And I have none of this is to expose Ludwig or anything. It's literally just, I think this is important to bring up. But I said, why? And he said, you called one of my friends a whore. And of course I said, oh, that's terrible. When did I do that? Who did I call a whore? Or like, what's the scenario around this? Right. And he said, well, I can't tell you who, I can't tell you where, but like it did happen. And he goes, it was like a joke. It was in like a joking way, but you did do it. And of course I was like, oh, well, I mean, I don't make a habit of going around and, calling people whores, especially not like in a derogatory way or anything like that. So I was like, well, I don't know when this could have happened. But like, I don't want to say you're lying. Like but also at the same time, I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, I don't think Ludwig's lying, but like, what if someone else is, or what if there's, I've had so many lies, but like, what if there is? And my response to Ludwig essentially was like, hey, I'm going to assume that happened. I'm sorry that happened. I never want to offend anybody. That is a word that, a few years ago, that was something that I more jokingly did say, like I would call like Georgia whore or whatever. It was something that was in my vocabulary. And so I said it to Ludwig. I was like, it is a word that has been privately in my vocabulary occasionally. So it's probably something I should remove from my vocabulary. And so I've mostly, I don't use it in the way that I used to. But at the same time, I was like, but I've never used it in like a bad way, like a derogatory way, or a way to like it wouldn't be a reason to like hate me. Like what I didn't, or not a reason to like think I'm a bad guy or something. Like I don't know the context. And he said like it was outside of like a club or something, and I was drunk and it was a joke. And I was like, okay, I didn't get too much into it, but I was like, I don't know that happened. I don't know when that happened. I don't know who it would be too. And then I heard that from like multiple people behind the scenes after that fact. And I was like, I told Ludwig, I was like, I don't want to like attack this person. You think I'm like this evil guy. If this happened, I'd love to apologize. Like make this person feel better. I'm not some monster. Like I don't want to, like obviously, like and even in your context, I was drunk and it was a joke. Like even in the context he's providing. But anyway, of course he didn't tell me, and I think that's fair. I mean, if she didn't want to be, if she didn't want like to tell him, then that's fine. But I do think that it has this disconnect where there's this behind the scenes rumor that I don't even know is true. 2, I have no way of like proving is true. 3, if it is true, I have no way of like getting like apologizing or like making up for it or like making it better or moving forward from it. So it's like, no matter what, because it's this behind the scenes rumor, it's stuck. It's like stuck in this state of like Dream is bad no matter what, because I have nothing. I can't explain myself because I don't know what happened. I can't say it was a lie because I don't know when it happened, or I don't have any, no one will provide me with evidence, and I can't like move forward from it because I can't, in the case where that is something that happened, I can feel bad and apologize. I can't even make amends with the person. And so that's happened with stuff with Sapnap, that's happened with stuff with George, that's happened with a lot of creators, and it really sucks because of this whole like lack of communication. And I think that realistically, that's probably what happened. Something similar probably happened with Quackity. And I don't know, genuinely, I don't know what it is, because me and Quackity, obviously, we're good friends. I have nothing against Quackity. I love Quackity. I think Quackity's great. And then the SMP stuff happened, and then he obviously he like ghosted me essentially, and like he must have a reason for that. Like Quackity's not like some random, like he's not a fucking psychopath. So like he obviously has a reason. Like I don't know what that reason is. I'm sure he has a valid reason for doing it. But what people say publicly and they use as like they're like, oh, it's because of the allegations, because this, like, well, no, I know that those things aren't true. So that's why I'm even more confused, right? I feel like that feels bad as well, because almost like our audiences being pit against each other hurt friendships behind the scenes. In the same thing I feel like has happened time and time again. And I'll bring up a scenario that I think is honestly valid and it's something that I can bring up, is puns. I think that Puns and I were great friends, and then a lot happened, and obviously a bunch of my fans were being total complete dickheads, making fun of him and joking about him when I was the one who did something wrong. I did something that I should not have done. It hurt, it obviously very badly hurt Puns, and then Puns expresses that. He obviously picked a bad time to express, but I'll defend Puns and say, I should have gotten shit in that moment. That was not like everyone making fun of puns, that's terrible. If it was anyone else, people would have not been making fun of puns, would have been critiquing me for doing something, treating a friend in a way that I shouldn't have. Obviously, Puns and I had private conversations before that, and obviously there was lack of communication. He shouldn't have tweeted it publicly, whatever. But it's annoying because I feel like the fan base, you guys, and obviously Puns' fan base and other people's fan base have essentially like ruined friendships for people by their own, I don't know, like their own actions. Like obviously people can take their own accountability, but if it wasn't for the fans being so terrible to Tommy about me, if it wasn't for the fans being so terrible to me about Tommy, I think we'd probably be be fine. If it wasn't for the fans being so terrible to Puns about me and the fans, whatever, etc., I think Puns and I would probably be fucking fine. If it wasn't for the fans that were, so terrible over false allegations, whatever, to me, and also whatever around the Quack situation, I think we'd probably be fine. And it fucking sucks. It really does suck. It sucks. And that's just the most genuine I can be about it, because that's a critique I have for you guys as well and my audience. You are at fault as well for that, because yes, I understand that we are there for everyone's entertainment, and we have, but not everything is for entertainment. Like that's a moment where Puns is being very vulnerable. Obviously there's a lot going on. I also understand some people probably weren't trying or thinking about it from this perspective, but that sucks. I love Puns, and now I'm not friends with Puns primarily because we weren't able to have private conversations because everyone, and yes, some of that's to blame on him. I understand people would say that, but and we weren't able to hash things out privately. It's something that it's being able to, and people are probably also a lot afraid, like Tubbo or somebody may be afraid of having a private conversation with me because of either rumors they've heard or because they think like, oh my God, I don't want my fans to think I like Dream. Like because they think Dream's this terrible person. And so it makes everything worse for everyone, not just for me. It makes everything worse for everybody. And like, obviously I had a lot of negative things to say about Tommy in this, in this stream. And I said a lot of things in a harsh way. But I think that from my perspective, it's more of like hey, Tommy, you're not treating me like you would treat someone else or you're not looking at things from the perspective of how you would treat another human being that wasn't looked at as scum by your audience or by someone else's audience. That is the reflection that I think needs to be done. And that like, I don't think Tommy's doing any of this stuff because he's a bad person or said any of these things because of, you don't know, just like you don't know the creators. I don't know these creators either, really. And so it's hard for me to critique people's intentions, but it is easy for me to point out from my perspective and look at, things as a collective and be like, oh, wow, here's what actually happened. And here's what's being portrayed by other creators or by the public to happen. So, I mean, like, I'll say again that if there's any questions or concerns that anybody has about behind the scenes rumors or things that you hear from other creators or, things, like, please reach out to me. Like as a creator, reach out to me, DM me, talk to me. I'm not going to bite. I'm not going to, whatever. Like I will be upfront with you. I'll be honest with you. I'll talk to you. I'll be reasonable about it. I'm not going to judge you for thinking something. I'm not going to, whatever. I don't want things spread privately about me, and I don't want things spread, I think lies spread about anybody. And I think that it's really important, like as a community, like honestly, I think that this is just like getting everything out there. Like, look, here's all this shit. It's all out there. Like, this is what, like, this is the people that don't like me. This is why they don't like me. There's not a behind the scenes, blah, blah, blah. This is why everything I've talked about in this stream are the reasons. And my responses to those things are my responses to those things. Obviously there are, interactions privately between people. People form, have different opinions and whatever. And I think it's fine to not like somebody. If you don't like somebody, your personality doesn't clash, whatever, then it doesn't clash. But I think that the disingenuousness is the worst part, I guess. And I think that it sucks from a creator standpoint, but it also does suck from like a human standpoint, from like a friend standpoint, to have stuff like this happen. I'm just gonna do a brief like look through to make sure that I didn't miss anything that I super wanted to talk about. I guess anyone has anything in my mentions on Twitter I could look, but I don't. I just want to check real quick. I've been live almost 3 hours. It's a long ass time. And realistically, like that's the thing is like I see a future where like I think that the most likely response is like a brace, like a fucking war between like Tommy and I, and he goes fucking Detective Tommy, whatever. But like just sit back and like try speaking to Tommy and also speaking to the audience, like just try and evaluate things, strip out the fact that it's me, strip out the fact that you have these preconceptions. People, obviously, yes, you have formed opinions based on a building block of information for a very long time. But at the same time, what if 1 or 3 or 5 of those building blocks are just wrong or something that wasn't true? Then all of a sudden your whole basis of knowledge you've had over the last many years are just not true. And it's something that I've been dealing with for a very long time. And it's hard. It's difficult to understand how to, I don't know, move forward, because I don't know, you can't, like, a lot of the stuff is like private. It's hard to, you can't like just go and air it out or whatever. But I do think that it's important to, I don't know, it's just important to reflect on like your own communities. I think Tubbo has been very good at trying to be unbiased and attempting to be fair. I think that a lot of what he said, is something that, and we had, obviously we've had conversations and whatever, but essentially, me and Tubbo's conversation we had a while ago, obviously he did say other things, but he also pretty much just said like, hey man, Tommy doesn't like you, therefore I don't like you. Essentially. Not essentially, word for word said, hey man, at the end of the day, obviously we're talking about these other things, but Tommy doesn't like you. And I like, Tommy and I are good friends. So like, we can't be friends, essentially. I'm like, cool. That's valid. I don't mind that. It's not a invalid way of thinking. I don't blame Tubbo. I think Tubbo is very respectable. I think he's treated me, when it came to the allegations, he treated me very fairly. And I think that the reason I chose his VOD to critique is not because he said anything wrong, is because he did a good job of summarizing kind of a lot of things that happened and gave me a chance to respond to a lot of it. This is almost 3 hours. I think that people's ADHD minds are going to have a tough time at, watching through it all, but I do strongly encourage you. Anyone wants to cut it up, use it, whatever for clips, feel free, spread it however you want. Just try and have context. Like, people are going to try and clip things out of context and cause, riffs, whatever. My intention with this is, obviously bridges are burned. I understand that there's been a lot of shit, but I just want to kind of get out more of my perspective, because obviously if you can't see someone's perspective, then they look more, it's hard to understand their perspective, and then they look worse. And so there it is. I plan on just moving on. I think I'm going to do a stream tomorrow on a Squid Game thing with Spreen. I think that's awesome. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. But outside of that, again, I'll just kind of do a quick scroll, just make sure I'm not totally missing. Someone said, is A60 your friend? Look, A60, I don't even know what to say. I think he's just upset about the whole, whatever. Like, I think that obviously everyone knows about the A60 stuff. It's not even like A60. I don't know. We can talk privately. Just DM me, A60. Look, don't fall into the the trap of thinking you have to do things publicly or whatever. Like, look, I have no problem with you. DM me privately. What else? What else is there? Yeah. I think there's, obviously, I think that there is obviously more, and I haven't shared. I purposely didn't share any of outside of the very necessary ones, like Tommy's DMs or private messages between people, whatever. I obviously I showed messages of mine, but outside of that, I tried not to, because I don't want to. I think there's so much, obviously more. There's so much lore between me and Tommy in private, and there's so much lore between me and everyone in private. So like, I think that it's a whole different can of worms to go through and like go over people's actual messages and stuff, and I think that makes it way more complicated. So I'm keeping it simple. It's like, well, here's the bullet points, and then here's what for me sparked X, Y, and Z. At the end of the day, kind of good conclusion there is so why is Dream skipping over Tubbo talking about the inappropriate conversations happening in Discord calls on the dreamsmp? I didn't intentionally skip over that. I can look at, I don't know when he said it in the VOD, but yeah, one of the things that Tubbo, so I guess Tubbo didn't give specifics, so I'm not going to give exact specifics, but I'll give more specifics than Tubbo did, because again, it does make it seem a lot worse than what he's, the way that Tubbo is phrasing it. I do think that eventually it's something that could be, used in like a gotcha moment of like, oh my God. But first of all, it doesn't involve me. Like, I have nothing other than the fact that obviously the dreamsmp is like my thing. So it's my Discord, whatever. But Tubbo brought up to me one of the previous times we called, how looking back on, some interactions that he had in the dreamsmp Discord that he was uncomfortable because he was 17 or whatever at the time. And like an interaction that he brought up was that in like one of the one of the dreamsmp chats or whatever, there was like a fan art porn image shown. Now obviously that's not something that should be shown regardless to anybody. It doesn't matter what the affiliation is, but or like what their, I guess, age is, unless they, or whatever. But to give context, because I think it is important to this situation, is it was a bunch of dreamsmp people in a call looking at the fact that fans were drawing crazy art like that and making fun of it and being like, oh my God, this is crazy, this is disgusting. No one should do this, essentially. And to give context to like an image, I guess I don't know how to say this without it being kind of, it's not graphic, but like it is. I think it was like a Bad Boy Halo Minecraft character with like a penis and a Skeppy Minecraft character. Obviously, again, I validated Tubbo's concerns and was like, yeah, obviously if that's something that could make someone uncomfortable, and I totally see that. And obviously, if you're a minor being around something shared like or shown like that, then you wouldn't want to be. But I also did express to him that the way that that's being brought up, even in this context, is like almost as a way of like, therefore, these people are predators or whatever. And again, that's not me. Wasn't something that I did or whatever, but it's also something that, I definitely, even privately with George and Nick or whatever, have shared ridiculous things. I'm like, look at this is terrible. And so, I even expressed to him as like, you're looking at it through a lens of like, if these guys are super terrible, creepy guys, then look at this action where they shared, Skeppy Bad Boy Halo Minecraft porn, and that's a predatory like action. And so I think it can both be not something that should be happening and something that's fair to look at and be like, hey, that's, hey, you should avoid having anybody in a channel with anything like that if they're 17, as Tubbo was. But the way that I kind of looked at it as Tubbo was like, well, no one, I don't think anyone in that scenario was trying to be creepy or predatory to anybody. It was people treating Tubbo like he was, just like them, like he was an adult, which probably shouldn't have happened. But it's also something that Tubbo and Tommy both asked many times. They both said, don't treat us any different. Don't treat us like anyone else. Don't whatever. But at the same time, they're kids. They're young. They're minors at that point. So they're not, you shouldn't take their word for that. But it's not like that was like a frequent thing that happened. Obviously, again, this was one instance that Tubbo brought up. I'm not sure. I don't know the exact specifics, but there's something that Tubbo brought up. And so that I don't know the exact clip where he mentioned that, but there's that. Obviously, I'm sure people will run to the hills with that information and be like, oh my God, they're sharing, whatever. It's like, guys, be for real, be serious, and realize the lunacy of the situation we were in as creators, having that type of stuff posted about us, and we're collectively, as a collective, talking about it and sharing it and being like, what the hell, what is this, and not like, oh my God, this is like it's not a sexual weird thing. Again, it wasn't something that I was personally, as far as I know, directly involved in, but it's something that obviously, but again, it feels, it's not disingenuous, but it feels it's almost sometimes where more context is better. Like in this case, saying like, yeah, there was some inappropriate stuff that happened, conversations and stuff that happened in dreamsmp discords that like Dream was aware of, and that's like, whatever. That without more context sounds weirder than if you give more context, where it's like, well, yeah, okay. It's almost worse it's like, I don't want to, sometimes like, I'm sure Tubbo's like, I don't want to give details because it's awkward to talk about, but sometimes like details are necessary, I guess, in a way. So, but anyway, what else is there? Is there anything else? I want to look at my tweets, because that was another mentions. What else is there? I think that's probably close to it. I think that for getting into specifics on like obviously I did reply to a tweet initially being like, I'll talk about it, but I think getting into specifics about how certain people reacted to the allegations it's counterintuitive in a way, I guess, because I feel like I appreciate everyone that was kind of there for me during those times, and everyone that did, regardless of what their reasons were for doing it. I appreciate them for, around, I guess. I think that there were multiple things that obviously I'm just choosing not to share now that maybe I would share at a future date if necessary, or if I thought appropriate, in regards to that I think is very whatever, and it is more in specific relation to that group. But it does, in my mind, it delves more into like private information, private messages, so on and so forth. So I don't want to. I just wanted to keep it to the minimal of like revealing any private stuff outside of things that are absolutely necessary, or conversations or things that people had already talked about. So for now, obviously you can make assumptions, and you're probably correct with your assumptions, but I'm not. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of, I don't know if there's ever any like really fully coming back reputation wise, or like image wise, but obviously behind the scenes, the way that people view me specifically, a lot of it's built on things that aren't true, and the things that are true, it's public information. Like there's not, as far as I know, and I've opened my DMs to anybody. I'm down to talk about anything. But I'd love to, this year, obviously my plan, I want to work, I'm going to be grinding a lot. I've been posting more videos. I want to post a lot more. And so this is kind of like a good, kind of like, hey, let's move chapters and, move on, I guess, to, I guess here I'll play a little hopeful music, move on and, hopefully make new friends. Hopefully, I'm sure that this ruffled some feathers and people will have a lot to say about it, and there'll be a lot of, drama from it, but hopefully people legitimately try and look at things from other sides. Obviously right now, Tommy's like has the Infinity Stones on Twitter and is like Thanos. So, I'm not expecting anything there, but I never have been. And I don't think that's, I'm not worried about that, or nothing hasn't bothered me. I went to sleep and then I woke up and there was like a bunch of tweets and stuff. So I was like, oh yeah, it was kind of probably similar for Tommy. He probably woke up and was like, wait, dream tweeted. Yeah, I'm hopeful. I want to make new friends. I want to, obviously kind of move on from all this. And it does feel like a lot of this was stuff that like has kind of been eating at me, and it's just annoying. It's like, it's hard to, it's so frustrating. Done a lot of bad things. I've done things I regret. I've made apologies, or I'm sure people have shared them around and been linked to for different reasons, but at the end of the day, I want to try and be honest and fair. And I do have a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect, even obviously after this stream. I have a lot of respect for Tubbo. I have a lot of respect for, Tommy. I have a lot of respect for everyone, all the creators on the DreamSmp. And I said that because it's true. I do. I think that my respect has been hurt in some ways for Tommy, in some ways because of actions and the lack of communication that, would maybe clear up some of those things. Yeah, at the end of the day, very positive. And I'm going to be uploading more and stuff. And if anyone has any things outside of this, I'm sure maybe in my stream tomorrow, maybe at the beginning or the end, I'll, maybe talk about some of it or something. And especially if there's anything that happens between now and then. Yeah, otherwise, appreciate you guys. See you guys soon. Drama is so fun. I was just jealous. I was jealous I wasn't in all the drama. All right. Bye, guys. Bye. Boom. Bye.